Thank you for joining us tonight. It's AANHPI Men for Kamala, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander men for Kamala Harris. We will be starting in just a few minutes. Check out that QR code in the top corner of your screen. Scan it and donate. We'll be sharing names throughout the program of people who are donating. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Please like, please comment, please share, please retweet. Tell all your friends about the great show we'll be having tonight. Let's start things off with a little bit of geography. What city are you in right now? We're going to do a few interactive segments like this. Take out your phone and scan the QR code in the one on the bottom left of your screen this time, and let us know what city you're watching from. We have Brooklyn. Just one response so far. I know we have more folks than that watching. There we go. Keep them coming. We will be starting in just a few minutes. There we go. We see a lot of cities coming up now. Let's go ahead and bring on our co-hosts. Our co-host for the evening, the Honorable David Chu and the Honorable Aftab Puriwal. Let's bring them on to the program.
Good evening, Asian America. I am so excited for tonight's event. My name is David Chu. I'm the first Asian American city attorney of San Francisco, home to some of the oldest Asian communities in the country, and I'm delighted to be one of your co-hosts. I'm the handsome one.
I think that's true. I completely agree with that. And I'm Aftab Puriwal, the first Asian American mayor of the great city of Cincinnati. I am so incredibly excited to be here. Welcome to AANHPI Men for Kamala Harris.
Now, it is hard to believe that just a mere 2 weeks ago, our president, Joe Biden, did an incredibly selfless thing by handing the torch to Vice President Kamala Harris. And within a few days of that, as we all know, Black women, Asian women, many others have organized virtual events just like this one for our incredible candidate, Kamala Harris.
That's right, David. And look, as Asian men, as Native Hawaiianers, as Pacific Islanders, we were just so inspired by the organizing of our sisters, and we just had to follow their lead. Elected officials, activists, and prominent voices from our community, we came together to have the backs of our sisters and the woman who will become the first president of South Asian American descent in our country's history.
So tonight we have a great lineup for you. You're going to hear from many corners of our community from all over the country, including actors who play superheroes, to real-life warriors for justice, to comedians, to members of Congress, genuine legends from Broadway and Hollywood, to civil rights advocates and business leaders.
Look, our goals, David, tonight, and we've got goals, you know, we are goal-oriented, is to celebrate our community, to celebrate our diversity, our political power, and most importantly, to raise that money, raise that cheddar, baby, as we know that the resources are necessary in order for all of us to make history with Vice President Harris's election. So use the QR code in the top right-hand corner to give. Give until it feels good. Give until it hurts. You know, whatever you're into. No judgment on my part.
But before we get going, we want to do a little bit of audience participation just to get the blood flowing. We're going to ask you, all of you who are representing the Asian American communities across our country, if you had to choose one word to describe Donald Trump, what would it be? Click on that QR code, type in the first thing that comes to mind. Oh, wow, we got a lot of people who think weird.
We got weird. Weird is running away with it so far. I was really kind of shocked by how many different cities were up in our first QR code survey, David. It was cool to see cities all across the country. I know you're in San Francisco. I'm in Cincinnati. It's just so empowering to see AANHPI activists, organizers, electeds coming together on this incredible Zoom. But David, before we jump to this, I got to ask about your background. It's a little sterile. Are you in an operating room? I mean, you couldn't throw a picture up, or it's just a little. It lacks some creativity, I guess. Is what I would say.
I mean, are you saying that I should have been a doctor?
No.
Really? Is that where we're going here?
I'm not. Mama Chu, I'm sure, covered that for you. But no. I'm just wondering about your interior decorating. I would rate it out of 10, probably like a 3. You can do better than that, bro.
Mama Chu is actually watching this, and she's cringing at the fact that her son is not a doctor. But I'm actually on a family vacation right now. I've got a very patient wife, and this happens to be the place that we're staying. So it is what it is. But I have to say, I love the fact that you're framed by a couple of ferns.
Yeah, look, it may be a dated reference, but this is comedy. I mean, I am between 2 ferns. LFG, baby, let's go. It's time to elect the vice president. Hey, can we see where we're at on that word cloud? I know that initially Weird was kind of running away with it, but where are we at? Weird is still in there, felon, big
felon.
time.
We got criminal, racist, bully. Orange,
I like orange. It's still coming. Insane. That's probably true. Self-centered. That's like a mature, constructive feedback. I wouldn't have gone mature route, but I'm glad we're respectful. Okay. Anyway, let's get to the next word cloud. We're going to now go into our third question, which is, what word comes to mind when you think about our beloved vice president? Oh, someone was a little late on that one. Hopefully, fascist was a mistake. I'm sure it was. But as we're populating this word cloud, David, I hate to keep harping on you here, brother, but what is this look you're going for? We got a sport coat with a t-shirt. What's going on there?
Oh man, so I gotta explain this. This is a vintage t-shirt. I basically have worn it off and on for the last 21 years. So over 2 decades ago, I was a young prosecutor in San Francisco. And I was told if I wanted to learn my craft, I needed to see the closing argument of an experienced prosecutor. You guys know her name. I became friends with Kamala. And 21 years ago, she invited me to be part of her kitchen cabinet. And I helped to form the first Asians for Kamala organization. This is the t-shirt from that 21 years ago.
Wow.
It's
so cool.
Vintage. It's a collection. And what I'll tell you, if you can't see what it says, as folks know, Kamala means lotus in Hindi. And the t-shirt literally says, found in muddy waters, where it emerges unsoiled and ready to bloom. In Hindu culture, the lotus represents purity, the renewal life, and joy. I kid you not, that is on the t-shirt. And we know we've got a joyful warrior in our vice president.
That's beautiful, man. The only thing I took away from that is that you're like homies with the vice president. That's very cool. You guys have known each other for a long time, and it's so wonderful that you're here advocating for her. I, on the other hand, am just a random guy from Ohio. I don't know how I got here, but I'm really proud to be here. And let's show the audience our word cloud and see what words come to mind when we think of our beloved vice president. Presidential. I love that. President. Hope, joyful, joy. I mean, all of that is true. I love her sense of humor. I love her aura. I've been lucky enough to be in the room with her a couple of times, and when she walks in, it just gets brighter. It's just, she's a beautiful person. I can't wait to help make her president.
Well, we got a lot of amazing folks who are coming on tonight. So let's start the show. Our first moderator, who's been an incredible member of our host committee, is a business leader who is friends with more celebrities than he has Instagram followers, and he's got 1 million of those. So from Las Vegas in the battleground state of Nevada, let's welcome on Evan Louie.
Evan, what's up, brother?
Hey, David. Hey, AANHPI. Thank you very much. You know, David, I still can't get over the fact that you still have a shirt that you can fit in after 21 years. So I wish I could do that. Hello, my name is Evan Louie, everyone. As mentioned before, I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I am the moderator for the Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander superheroes for Kamala Harris today with some amazing superheroes. Being Asian American and Pacific Islander, I have to give a shout out to my Chamorros on this call, half a day, to my Islanders on the Zoom. I'm honored to be part of this. So I will have to say that I did not get the opportunity to play a superhero in a film or television, but I will say what I believe my superhero power is. As many of my friends know, a story, it's kind of a little bit of a sad story. My wife was diagnosed with brain cancer when she was 7.5 months pregnant with my daughter, Savon. She passed away when my daughter was only a year old, and I raised her as a young Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander female leader, and she was featured in national and local ads with Hillary Clinton as a future president to publicly endorsing Kamala Harris' first run during the presidential primaries in the past cycle. The goal was to show that any young girl can aspire to be president someday. My superhero power is being a single father. Our dynamic duo with my daughter to show that we can do everything possible to make history for all women and girls and for our Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community. So onto our panel, we have a stellar group of AANHPI superheroes. I will start with my good friend, Anthony Francisco, who is currently the Director of Creative Development at Dolphin Entertainment and former Marvel visual development artist responsible for designing iconic characters like Baby Groot, which was inspired and based off of his son. He designed the Dora Milaje, which is from Black Panther, influence from cultural references in African and Filipino culture, and Loki for Thor Ragnarok. Before I turn it over to Anthony, I want to announce a special treat. We are going to give away 8 limited print run illustrations of Kamala as a superhero signed by the artist himself that is still work in progress. It's my fault for giving Anthony notice last night as an artist that needs time. So sorry, Anthony. These 8 limited edition prints will go out to our largest donors in the next 30 minutes. So now I'm going to turn it over to Anthony Francisco, who's going to talk for a few minutes on why he supports Kamala Harris.
Thank you, Evan. If I only know then I'm sorry, is there a sound the sound's being messed up? Can you guys hear me?
That's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I only knew sooner, maybe the painting would be a little bit better. But as soon as you told me that this was a superhero theme, and I've been designing superheroes for a while, working at Marvel, and all my life I've always been wanting to be a superhero, and I'm so glad I'm part of this historic event to have Kamala be the first woman, Black Asian president. I can't wait for this to happen. And I was just talking about it last month. How come she can't run? And now she's running, and I'm so excited for this. So I designed her as a Valkyrie. Here's an image that I did. That was just like 4 hours ago. So I was trying to do it as fast as I can just to give you guys a taste of how it could be. So I just have her carrying the scales of justice and her spear, just taking out those monsters from the swamp, those snakes out there. So hopefully I can't wait for her to, bring justice to the people and just have just good things happen. So thank you again for having me be part of this. And yes, I don't know who's next, but thank you again.
Going back to me. So next we have actor Desmond Chiam, who known for being in movies like Joyride, Mortal Kombat 2, and Marvel's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, to say why he is an AANHPI superhero for Kamala. I do want to say congratulations because he is a newlywed, as we hung out for his bachelor party in Las Vegas. So go ahead, Desmond.
Thank you, brother, and many more, I hope. Listen, as a fictional, radical, egalitarian, globalist super soldier, I don't think I'm a superhero, but I do think she is a superhero, and let me tell you why. So, my first year in America was in 2008. I was an exchange student, and I was in a UC Irvine dining hall when Obama was voted in, and that room just exploded, right? In this excitement and optimism for the future, and I think that became part of the tapestry of why I eventually decided to move to the US. When I finally got my green card, late 2015, early 2016, that 2008 dining hall felt pretty far away. But I will say this: I think a lot of Americans who love this country, and they can relate to that excitement of late '08. And I think it's because that we knew the potential of this great nation, and we all felt like, okay, hell yeah, now's the time we realize it. It's going to happen. Here it comes. And for me, the way this ticket is lining up, this Democratic ticket, this is the first time that I have felt that excitement really, really, truly come back. I think Walz is an excellent pick. The man knows how to speak to Americans in a way that we collectively have not been spoken to in a long time, and that's extremely important. I think we have an amazing potential cabinet, Peter Buttigieg, Mark Kelly, and I hope a senior administrative role, both strong, both forged in a time of huge dissonance between social movement and the necessary corrective legislative action to make that movement a reality. Basically, screw a deadlock, right? Those guys got shit done. And of course, Harris herself has shown that she is not only wiser, but a supremely effective operator in the day-to-day of Washington. I think a lot of the landmark achievements of the Biden administration, the IRA, CHIPS bill, they don't happen the way they do with as minimized concessions as they did without her. She is smarter, she is sharper, she is way stronger in the direct challenge to Trump than I think anyone foresaw, which, by the by, particularly that last, makes me much more confident in America's future geopolicy. And as a globalist, I'm just going to say this. My particular area of expertise, fictional globalist, just to be clear, but geopolicy is my area of expertise. If you want social change only happens in two geopolitical contexts: stability or absolute bloodbath carnage. I think Harris will bring that stability and give our leadership from federal to state to local time to plant the trees in whose shade our future generations will rest. And that's why I think top to bottom, it's important to vote Dem. Don't forget your locals, all part of the picture, but right now, Kamala Harris is the best chance we have to reclaim some of that energy that brought me and countless others in our diaspora here. Vote Dem, vote Blue, donate, talk to your neighbors with love. Let's goddamn go. Let's free the future.
Great job. Thank you, Des, for the great words. So I do want to introduce our next speaker and just kind of preface that. Just a little historical thing happened this year in 2024. We actually did and produced the first official Lunar New Year event for the Super Bowl this year. And part of the reason or logic behind it is we wanted to have Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders to be part of the biggest sporting event in the country in American culture. And Osric Chow personally flew out all the way from Canada to come to Las Vegas to attend this event. Osric is an actor featured in movies like Kung Fu Killer, Man with the Iron Fist, Last Airbender, and The Flash. And please, Osric, say why you are an AANHPI superhero for Kamala.
Muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you for that introduction, Evan. Shout out to Des for being so articulate. I'm going to ask everyone to lower their standards now that I'm talking. Look, our community has historically gone through some shit, right? We've been discriminated against culturally, legally, I mean, every type of way, really. And at best, we've been overlooked and marginalized, lumped in with the majority, placated with the honorific title, the model minority, which sounded pretty good, actually. I used to really like it when I was younger, but then I grew up and I realized that all it means is that we should be grateful that enough of us has attained white passing status so the rest of us shouldn't be complaining anymore, right? Not as great. But yes, unfortunately, we're not a monolith. Most of us are not so fortunate. And there are groups within our community that are among the highest poverty rates in the US. And that's considering the many cultural stigmas that don't have us airing out our money problems to our own families, let alone the Census Bureau. On a positive note, we have been moving in the right direction in a lot of areas. But despite that, I got to say, 2024 has been a very scary time. And that's in all of our lives. we're coming up to a fork in the road that is giving us two very clear choices for our future. One of which is a future that prioritizes the working class, a future that puts our families first, a future that prioritizes education, a future that provides affordable healthcare, a future that actually cares about you. And thank God one of these paths leads to a future that acknowledges the importance of racial equity and inclusion. I want that. We need that. Or at the very least, we need a future where there's no risk of anyone being thrown in as a scapegoat for some fear-mongering tactic for someone's own personal interests, putting them at physical risk. Can we agree on that, at least? You know, we need a future where we're not targets to become an easy punchline for a handful of cheap jokes. There was a time when I was imagining what that other road looked like. And for our community, it's like going back in time. And it just made me so sad. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. The only future that we need to talk about is the only one that makes sense for our community. And that future is the one with Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States, with Tim Walz as vice president. Thank you.
Great job, Osric. Phenomenal job. Next, we have Raymond Lee, I was excited to see an Asian American lead of Quantum Leap. He was also in Top Gun Maverick, Kevin Can F Himself, and many more films and televisions. Please say why you are an AANHPI superhero for Kamala, Raymond.
Hey, thank you all so much for having me. It's such an honor to be among this awesome group of fellow superheroes. I am a superhero for Kamala Harris because she is unafraid, she is bold, and she is an incredible role model for the youth. And in raising a young daughter myself with aspirations of some of the same characteristics, I want to see her grow up with someone like Kamala Harris in charge. And I want that to be normal. And selfishly, I want to be able to tell her that her dad had some small part in aiding this historical moment in time. So it's for my kids and the future and the world that we want to see. So thank you all so much for having me again. Let's go Harris Walz.
Thank you, Raymond. Appreciate your input. Next person we have is Leonardo Nam from one of my favorite shows on HBO, Westworld, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and now Disney Descendants 2, Rise of the Red. I actually watched that show recently. Great job, Leonardo. And please say why you are an AANHPI superhero for Kamala Harris.
Hi, everyone. Thanks again for having me here. I am Korean, American, Argentinian, and Australian. I'm an immigrant. I'm a blend. And I'm a proud gay dad of twins and a family man. I moved from Australia to become an actor in the greatest country in the world, the USA, which has always been a beacon of freedom and equality. I became a citizen so I could vote for Obama the first time because democracy is important to me and I see it at stake in this election. I'm beyond excited about the future with Kamala and her fantastic running mate, Governor Tim Walz from Minnesota. Kamala and Tim are the perfect new vision for this country and that this country needs. And for the first time in a long time, I'm genuinely excited about the future. Kamala reflects the rich diversity of our nation. With her mix of American, Asian, African-American heritage, she embodies the unity and strength that we all share. As California State Attorney, she worked tirelessly for marriage equality, and I am a direct recipient of that hard work. Her policies are a beacon for immigrants like me, making America a welcoming and inclusive place which diversity is celebrated. And then there's Tim Walz, a champion for unity and equality. He's not just a politician. He was a high school football coach and a teacher representative for the Gay Straight Alliance at his school. You know, talk about someone who walks the talk of inclusion. And then together, Kamala and Tim are committed to protecting women's rights, ensuring our daughters and nieces have the same opportunities as our sons and nephews. Their vision for education is incredible, promising a brighter and more equitable future for all students, no matter where they live. This is the kind of future I want for my sons, Cooper and Alexander, and I want them to grow up in a proud America where they can become fine young men. Kamala and Tim are ready to lead us into an era of progress, freedom, and justice. So let's get behind them, build a future where every voice is heard, Every life is valued and every dream is possible. I can't wait to see the America that they will help create for Cooper, Alexander, and for all of our children. Thank you so much for having me here.
Woohoo! I love these inspiring comments. Our next speaker we have is Ryan Holmes, is an actor and content creator known for his strong presence in social media, known for his comedy writing to explore his African-American and Chinese-American heritage. I follow your videos, Ryan. Please say why you're an AANHPI superhero for Kamala Harris.
Woo! I am excited to be here, man. I have so many things to say. I hope I say them all. I'm for Kamala because I'm a little selfish. I'm a little biased because I'm Black and I'm Asian. And even though Trump might not allow me to be Black, I'm Black. And I love the idea of having someone who is multiple cultures to be president, because me growing up, I always felt like I was on the outside. I was always looking in. I always wanted to be something else. But later on in my career, in the past 3 years, I've been very, very, very adamant about sharing my story, about talking about my multicultural background, how I was raised, to always believe that I'm 100% both my cultures. And here's a candidate who not only believes that she's 100% both, she also is running on a ticket that is about unity, solidarity, and equality. And if you saw Tim Walz in that rally in Philadelphia, he was cooking. He said, "Mind your damn business." He said that. When he was talking about reproductive rights, when he was talking about civil rights. So I'm really fired up. I'm very hopeful. I'm the most hopeful I've been in a very long time. And I'm glad to also see that so many people in the community feel the same way, that we can actually sort of charge forward together, love each other despite our differences, understand that those differences are always going to be there, but they actually make us better. 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 1. There's so many cultures, there's so many different orientations, and we should embrace all that. And I think this candidate is running on a platform that embraces all that. So I feel inspired, I feel seen, and I love what the future may hold if you go and you vote and you donate. Thank you.
Wow, I am so inspired by all your touching message. I'm invigorated, passionate. I hope you all feel that these AANHPI superheroes are getting you ready to get there, to tell 10 friends to vote, to donate towards the Kamala Harris's campaign. We appreciate everyone. Now we have a next video from any of you who have seen the lead star of Ultraman on Netflix. His name is Christopher Sean. So now we're going to play that video.
My name is Christopher Sean, and I play Ultraman. And I stand with Kamala Harris. She represents diversity. She fights for equal opportunity, and she protects women's rights. She's invested in our children, and she connects with the youth movement of America. She's a strong supporter of the LGBTQ. She takes climate change serious, and she's always been for the development and growth of the American family. Now, regardless of your partisan belief, Kamala Harris is willing to partner with states and work towards a beautiful and strong and united American future. I stand with Kamala Harris.
Great to have that video featured by Christopher Sean. Now I want to introduce Sri Srinivasan, who is the CEO of Digimentors, and he brought together South Asian Men for Harris, and his team is helping produce this show. Shout out to Sri. He is going to read some of the audience comments.
Thank you, Evan. This has been going so well. Congratulations to you and the entire team. What a group of superheroes we had. Let's look at some of the great comments coming in. Kamala and Coach Waltz all the way. Let's do this. Hien says LFG. Wendell says in it to win it. Hello from Michigan. Go blue in many ways. And we have that donate button. Everybody, please donate right now. Every dollar makes a difference. Every dollar goes to the campaign. This is going to make Kamala Harris the first Black, Asian, woman president of the United States, and we are very, very excited about this. Let's do this, brothers, says JC Chang, but we have women here too. Terry says AANHPI women are here to represent. Black and white woman here, also on behalf of my Chinese husband, because he's still working. So thank you for being here. John says, dancing to a brand new beat. And him to Tim, go Kamala. So lots of great comments coming in, Evan. I know you feel the excitement, you feel the energy. There was a great comment here. LinkedIn user was talking about the image that we're putting together of Kamala Harris as a superhero, which is very, very cool. And people, our friend Bisham is saying, yay, Evan, Ryan, and team. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us what you're seeing. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us if you've donated. And so many people are doing this. It's just so cool. Look at this. Hearts. I see hearts for Kamala and some swearing. I think we're allowed to do that, right, Evan?
Yeah, should be. So I want to thank this inspiring, motivational, charismatic, amazing panel. And speaking of Asian American superheroes, our next panel are real life superheroes. We have 4 Asian American elected officials who hold statewide office, who every day are fighting for justice, fighting crime, fighting for voting rights. I want to first bring onto the stage the Attorney Generals of the great state of California and Connecticut, Rob Bonta and William Tong.
All right. Hey, everyone. Rob Bonta, California Attorney General here with my brother from Connecticut, Attorney General William Tong. We're super excited to be here. We watched as AANHPI Women for Harris did an incredible job raising money and recruiting new supporters for Vice President Harris, and we can't let them have all the fun. That's why we're here. I'm proud to be here with all of you. Vice President Harris has been an unfailing champion of the AANHPI community. Now she's calling on us to champion her, and it's time to answer the call, and I know you are. Our presence here tonight shows that. We have seen the darkness of the Trump show before, and we cannot go back. Reruns are great for sports highlights and late night TV, but not for the future of our nation. Kamala Harris is our chance to chart a new path forward, the only person capable of prosecuting the case against Trump the way it needs to be done. And I can personally attest to that. I came up watching her run and win in California. When I became a deputy city attorney in San Francisco, I moved into her office. And years later, I took over her office once again when I became the second AAPI Attorney General in California, second only to Kamala. And let me tell you, as someone who's followed in her footsteps, who's picked up the work she started as Attorney General, no one can prosecute the case against Trump better than Vice President Harris. It's what we do as AGs. It's what she did as Attorney General. While Trump's a convicted felon, Harris put scam artists and sex offenders in prison. While he slashed affordable housing programs, she fought to expand them. While he rolled back regulations keeping banks in check, she made big banks pay $20 billion to homeowners hit by the mortgage crisis. A seasoned prosecutor versus a convicted felon. Hollywood couldn't make this up. So we have work ahead of us. The choice is clear. The Harris-Walz ticket is our path forward. It's going to take all of us to elect them, and we will. As Harris says, as Vice President Harris says, when we fight, we win. So let's fight and let's win. Thank you all. And let me introduce Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul, who's with us today and has been an incredible warrior out in Wisconsin. Josh?
Thank you, Rob. It's great to be here. It's great to be joining you. It's great to be joining our colleague William Tong in Connecticut. Steve, thanks for joining us as well in the statewide elected group. I want to say just a few words about the stakes in this election and the critical role of my home state, Wisconsin. First, we cannot emphasize too much how much the future of our freedom is at stake in this election. And we have seen it firsthand with the first Trump presidency. After the 2020 election, Donald Trump tried to overturn the results in my state of Wisconsin. They brought lawsuit after lawsuit, and they tried to get folks to do the wrong thing and throw out the results. That is an attack on our freedom to vote. We stood up against it, and we won every time. But we know that Donald Trump is coming back for more attacks on our voting rights. We also saw the impact on reproductive freedom from Donald Trump's presidency, because with Roe being overturned in Dobbs, That led to a 15-month period in Wisconsin where women didn't have access to safe and legal abortion. Now, we are in the midst of fighting on that issue in the courts. We've restored access and given people back the ability to make decisions about their own health care. But all of that is going to be at risk and, in fact, more danger than it was before if we have a second Trump administration. And we know it because Donald Trump's allies wrote it all down in Project 2025. They are coming after reproductive freedom. They're coming after independent law enforcement. They're coming after Medicare and Medicaid and other programs that benefit working families. They're coming after the Department of Education. So we've got to win this election. In Wisconsin, we know about close elections. I won the first time by 0.65 percentage points. I doubled that the second time around. I won by 1.33. And 4 of our last 6 presidential races were decided by less than 1 percentage point. So the work that we do between now and Election Day is going to make the difference between winning and losing. And what I know from experience is that when we put in the work, knocking on doors, making phone calls, we can win. I am so excited about the energy we've seen, but we got to keep it up between now and Election Day. And I'm going to pass it over to somebody who I know will bring some energy to this event, my great colleague, William Tong.
Thank you, Josh. It's great to be with all of you. I'm Attorney General William Tong of Connecticut. I'm on family vacation, but Rob is rocking the flags and the suit and making me look bad. But let me just say how excited I am, how pumped I am for Harris Walz. But as an AANHPI elected leader, I want to note and mark how important and personal this moment is for all of us. You know, often I get asked, Mr. Attorney General, what does it mean to you to be an Asian American elected official? And I'm often very honest. I say it means we're often still too invisible, left out of important discussions and policy debates in government among elected officials, often invisible in the national conversation we're having about race. And after we lost 6 Asian American women in Georgia in 2021, and so many others across the country to hate and discrimination and violence, not only do we feel invisible, but we feel every day, like many people in our community, many of us have a target on our backs. That's why electing Kamala Harris, our first AANHPI sister, as President of the United States is so important. Because when I stood with her in the White House for the President Biden's signing of the COVID-19 anti-Asian hate law, anti-hate crimes law, it reminded me that having an AANHPI vice president, woman vice president, and soon to be President of the United States means that we don't just have an ally in this fight. We have somebody for whom this fight is real. This is her fight. And standing with her, we can say to Donald Trump and everyone aligned with him, I'm not a virus. We are not a virus. We're not responsible for the Kung flu or the China virus. We're Americans, just like everybody else. I was born to immigrant parents in Hartford Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm an American, Jack, just like everybody else on this call. And we're going to fight tooth and nail for our families every single day. That's why I'm so pumped. That's why this election is so important. And with that, let me turn it over to my good friend, Secretary of State, Steve Hobbs of Washington.
Hey, thanks a lot, William. I really appreciate it, man. You got me pumped up with that speech. Hey, everybody. Again, Steve Hobbs. I'm from the state of Washington. I know Steve Hobbs is not a very Asian name, but I assure you, ask my mom, I am Asian. I fully support Kamala and choosing pursuing the presidency, because I know she's not going to call me and ask for where to find 12,000 votes like Trump did to the Secretary of Georgia. She believes in our elections that are secure and accessible and transparent. I know that she's not going to be the one that tried to overthrow the government like Trump tried to do. So it's about democracy. The other thing that I'm interested in is I'm a current member of the Army National Guard. I'm a lieutenant colonel. This is my 35th year of military service. I served in Kosovo and Iraq. And I believe that the Harris campaign is the best one to secure our national security. She's not going to abandon NATO. She's not going to abandon our allies in the Indo-Pacific. And we need somebody who understands the security of our world. And so that's why I'm fully backing Harris. So stand with us. Stand with us. Give if you can give, even if it's a little bit. We have to keep the White House.
So just to I don't know if we have more time, but just to say again, as Secretary Hobbs just said, please give and give as much as you can. I want to give a shout out to my friend Sheldon Pang from Connecticut, who you'll hear has graciously offered a $25,000 match. So he'll give up to $25,000 to match what everybody does here on this call. So please give at the link.
And thank you all. There's nothing we can't do when we do it together. So let's get this done. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. That was an incredible panel. And AG Banta, I agree. Best Dressed Award goes to you. Look, David, it's so inspiring to see so many statewide AANHPI elected officials just engaged. And a special thank you to AG Banta and especially to AG Tong. Oftentimes, these senior level elected officials aren't necessarily always on the ground organizing events like this. But as you know, David, we had Zoom after Zoom call almost nightly. And on every call, those two attorney generals were on. It's so inspiring. And in fact, special thanks to AG Tong. This entire thing was his idea. He texted me and said, hey, we should do this. And I was like, oh, shit, the Connecticut Attorney General wants us to do this. So then I called you and we called Eddie and Sam and here we are. So thank you to AG Tong. Some would say no thank you because this idea interrupted several family vacations. I know you're on vacation, David. So let me do a shout out to my beautiful wife. Thank you so much for her support.
And I have to do a shout out to my wife as well. Thanks, babe.
We're so excited, David. We're off and running. We've had 2 incredible panels. And guess what? Everyone who's at home donating, we have raised more than $100,000. That is an incredible start. So excited. Thank you so much for your engagement. Thank you so much for donating. Please continue to give. Please continue to click that QR code in the top right-hand corner. Continue to drive those numbers, but such a strong start. Thank you so much. And now let's talk about this movement, right? This moment that we're a part of, David. We really want to take a moment to not just thank our statewide elected officials who are incredible, but to thank all of our elected officials who are part of our movement. Our community knows our incredible political power. It was on full display in 2020, particularly in Georgia. And we're not just the margin of victory. With organized AANHPIs in all of our battleground states, we are the whole damn election. We have proven time and time again that Asians, us, we can run anywhere in the country for any office and we can win. And we're gonna prove it again with the White House. If you don't believe us, tell it to these AANHPI mayors from big and small cities around the country. So proud to be a colleague of the Honorable Bruce Harrell from Seattle, Todd Gloria from San Diego, Ravi Singh Bala from Hoboken, my friend, a new AANHPI mayor, Shamus Malik from Akron, Ohio. So proud of all of our elected power and so proud that we can get elected really anywhere in the country.
You know, that's so right, Aftab. And I have to say, it's not just about mayors, it's about hundreds of state and local legislators across the country. I have to say, as someone who has been a local and a state legislator, it was just amazing over the last couple of days of how many of our colleagues around the country really stood up, stepped up quickly all over the country, from north to south, from east to west, really saying this is so important. And I think one of the reasons it's so important is we know that if Kamala Harris is able to break that ultimate barrier, what it means for our kids. I will tell you, I might not be in office if Kamala Harris had not won that first office, because she started at 6% of the polls. She got attacked with racism and sexism 21 years ago, and it sort of set a standard, and she was able to get through, and many others in my city who don't look like what politicians were supposed to look like 100 years ago were able to get through, and what they're able to do and setting examples for our kids. I'm just looking forward to that if we can get it done this November.
Big if. That's right. This is not for certain. It's going to be an incredibly close election. It's on us to make sure that we make history by electing Kamala Harris. But look, you're in San Francisco. I'm in Ohio. I'm partial. I'm particularly proud of my Midwestern Asians. If you're a Midwestern Asian, drop a comment. I want to hear from you. Midwest, David, if you don't know, and I'm a pretty good example of this, Midwestern Asians are crazy. We are crazy people. When our people immigrated to this country, we could have gone anywhere. New York to California. We chose Wisconsin. We chose Michigan. We chose Minnesota. And thank God we did, because those are the battleground states that we have to win. I was just in Minnesota. They are so fired up for both the vice president and also for Governor Walz. Look, the whole damn family is lactose intolerant, and we went to the dairy capital of the world. It's insane. We're just a little grittier than you coastal elites, David. It's just true.
Oh man, you had to say that. I was, you had me with you. I was going to suggest some of our Hollywood friends ought to do a movie about crazy Midwestern Asians, but since you took a shot at those of us on the coast, here's what I'll say is, with Donald Trump denying climate change, you can hang out in the weather of your flyover state. I'm pretty happy living on the coast, but that's your personal preferences.
You're a blue sky sunshine Asian. I get it. It's all good, brother. I want to remind everyone again, hit that fundraising QR code in the top right-hand corner. David, what else can we do? Any other updates on fundraising?
Speaking of fundraising, we've had a couple of brothers around the country who've really stepped up to contribute tonight. So one of our country's top attorneys, our lawyers, Morgan Chu out of Los Angeles, has actually made a match challenge for all of us. And what he has said is, for every contribution tonight, Morgan's going to match it dollar for dollar up to $25,000. Now, I realize we didn't negotiate what happens if we blow through $100,000 at this point, but I know he's going to be good hit for his money. I will tell you, as a lawyer, we know our lawyers in our community have resources, so we're really encouraging you to step up. I was just looking through some of the chat, and I want to call out a buddy of mine from New York, Glenn McPangtai. I see you stepping up for $1,000. Just appreciate our lawyers and others in different professions helping to do your part here. Back to the show.
Yeah, I noticed the San Francisco city solicitor is propping up lawyers. That's fine, man. That's fine. Self-interest. But hey, let's move on with the show. Look, this is a serious time for our country. We all know that Donald Trump is a racist, and he's probably the worst person, the worst American ever. But he does provide some great material for comedians. The tiny fingers, the blue steel expression, the terrible, terrible hair. I mean, is it a toupee? Is it a comb over? I'm not clear. But to get us inspired, to understand the stakes, and maybe to poke some fun, we're joined by an all-star cast of AANHPI comedians. And to kick us off, you know him from the Hangover franchise, from Crazy Rich Asians, from the Community and Dr. Ken TV series, and the greatest guest, in my opinion, on College Game Day history. I'm so honored to introduce Dr. Ken Jeong.
Hi, Mayor Piraval. Thank you so much. And what an event tonight. I've been watching since jump, and this has been so inspiring. And Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you're on right now, but met you a couple of weeks ago on a Zoom, and you are just a star. It is amazing. People like you and Tim Walz, like you guys pass legislature and are funnier than all of us, and also have the gift of gab. You guys are just these generational talents, and it's honestly so exciting to see, and it's so inspiring. And like when we were talking before, the 70th mayor, right?
That's right.
right?
Cincinnati, yep.
Of Cincinnati, and the first South Asian mayor of Cincinnati. And it's just, and so well earned. And I just can't wait to see your star continuing to rise. You are just, I was just singing your praises to Evan, but
thank you, Ken. Get me off the screen. I want to see.
But
I
enough,
see Ken.
enough about the obligatory comments Mr. Mayor made me talk about him. Now, if you can Venmo me, I pumped you up, so pay me the $50. I am so inspired by so many of the stars tonight, all the superheroes. And I'm just going to start with Evan Louie, to Raymond Lee, to Ryan Alexander Holmes. And speaking of stars, we just added another one in Tim Walz last night. This is our moment. This is our movement. And I've said this before, but it bears repeating. In comedy terms, I'm a comedian. I have a background in comedy. Someone has said that Trump is a really hacky stand-up comic, eternally committed to the bit. You know what I mean? He just doubles down. And for the last decade, we all know that bit is old, incoherent, and lamer than ever. Trump has jumped the shark, and he knows it. And Kamala is his kryptonite. None of his jabs are landing. Why? Because Trump is weird. Vance is a creepy stalker, as evidenced today. He literally goes around private hangars all over the country just to stalk Kamala. He is a creep. And both of them together, Trump and Vance, are a pair of grifting slapnuts, spreading their brand of stupidity, racism, and misogyny across the land. Kamala is uniquely qualified not only to handle their childish heckling, but most importantly, she is uniquely qualified to lead us in reclaiming women's reproductive rights, minding our own business, restoring world peace, securing our economic prosperity, and most importantly, stopping Asian hate, which has gone up 339% in the past 4 years. This is our time. This is our moment. Kamala is going to be the first female, first Asian American, and second African American president in U.S. history, from San Francisco's district attorney to attorney general to senator to Veep. She cannot be denied. This is her moment, and because of her, this is our moment. We can all feel it. That's why we're all doing this. We can all feel it. This is bringing us, and many people have alluded to this tonight, there is a joy, there is an optimism we have not felt in a long time. We feel heard. We feel represented. Life is all about timing, and we're benefiting from that right now. So let's stay focused. In the words of Phil Yu, let's stay angry, and let's keep our foot on the collective pedal to accelerate Kamala to the White House. I love you. God bless America. And please donate to Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian PI Men for Kamala. Thank you.
Dr. Ken.
What a
that
speech.
was Dr. Ken, everybody.
Spitting like you were rapping there for a second. Damn.
Dr. Ken, my goodness.
Dr. Ken, bringing the heat, man. That was incredible, man. Thank you so much for
I'm
firing
inspired
us
by
up.
you. I'm inspired by
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, man. Well, we're so excited to have so many of your all-star colleagues here with us. Hudson Yang, Parvez China, Maulik Pancholy, and Nick Cho. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's just keep everybody on screen. Let's just mix it up. First of all, have you guys hung out together before? Have you all gotten drinks or coffee? Yeah. There's there's an AANHPI comedian hangout. I want to join the group.
Hudson would have chocolate milk.
Okay.
I would have a nice sparkling water.
Okay, gotcha. Understood.
And I have to have one thing. When did you steal my look? What did this?
Okay,
when did this
beard?
beard?
Let's talk about the beard. The beard is very polarizing. My local newspaper wrote an entire article about it. I will say though that Joe Burrow, our local real celebrity, buzzed his head and bleach blonde his hair. And I was the headline, and then I was the lead, and he was second. It was the proudest moment of my life. I was so excited about that. But it's embarrassing. So I'm half Tibetan. I'm talking way too much. I'm going to get off of this, but I'm half Tibetan.
Give it.
I'm half Punjabi, and so I'm trying to get there, but it's a little embarrassing. But Parvez, let's start with you, brother. You have been just an incredible activist on so many levels, whether it was the SAG-AFTRA strike, the directors, the producers, all that stuff, but also so incredibly active as it relates to AANHPI hate, and also as it relates to lifting up our South Asian community. Is it just a natural transition into supporting the vice president? Was it just a no-brainer for you? Why are you here, and why are you so passionate?
Combination of many things. One, SAG-AFTRA, we actually are still on strike. Another strike is for our video game and interactive folks, so we're just giving solidarity there to them. But I think after you hit on it, I'm Punjabi. I'm of Punjabi descent. That's that region in India near Pakistan. It all used to be one country. We know what this has been like before. Partition anyone, you can watch it on Miss Marvel. They do a great job of explaining it. So maybe I'm just born with it, where it's like, I don't like injustice. And maybe it's, Maulik can speak to this because I'm not outing him, but like, we are queer brown folk. So sometimes before I met folks like Maulik, I thought I'd have a parade of just one. So I don't know. I don't know why I'm here sometimes, other than I can't not be here and just shout for someone who I believe in. Kamala was my senator, attorney general here in California. So coming from Illinois, where we knew Barack a little early, I feel like we knew Kamala early. So we've known her for a while. And it just was like, I mean, like, look, we have all the swag. Oh, look at this. Kamala.
Yes.
Cursive. Kamala and Charlie Chisholm's colors. I mean, and then also, of course, the best at it and Nikhil Out Loud by Maulik Pancholy. What? Kamala? I don't know how that got in there. But
Let's sell some books. Let's go.
Wow.
Make some merch.
All the Maulik merch here.
But I am very, I'm excited to see what Kamala does. I'm hoping, I'm a member of Artists for Ceasefire, and I hope that we're going to keep evolving on certain issues that are, I think, they hit home a little bit more to us in the AAPI community. You know, kind of global conflicts where we still have family and are the children or grandchildren of people affected by partition, you know, by the Nakba. So there is something to be said about someone who is child of immigrants.
Yeah.
That speaks to the entire American experience, because unless, you know, you're one of the indigenous folk, we are a country based on immigrants. So it'd be really nice to have another, you know, first gen, second gen like us in office. And again, I am here to help pull her to the left as well, because there are some things where I want some things to progress a little further on.
I love that. Absolutely. Look, you know, what I'm so inspired by with the vice president is she has been able to bring activists on the left and the center a little bit more conservative under her tent because of her just power, because of her values, because of her life story. I mean, we are a country of immigrants. It is not a bleak future because of that. It is a bright future and has been a bright past because of people who came here, because where they were was less free. Nick Cho, to you, you know, one of the things that the vice president's campaign has been just crushing is social media, and specifically TikTok. A lot of people probably know you as your Korean dad. Tell us about your experience with the vice president on social media, or just as an activist. And second question, can you grow a beard?
Let's do the second question first. Absolutely not. Ken, I don't know about you.
I'm working on it right now, bro.
Yeah, this is like
3 years ago. You can't tell. It's a filter. It's just a filter.
Guys,
right.
It's not all of us. Look at Maulik. He's been trying for 20 years.
20 years. It's so smooth. It's so smooth.
Still trying.
So here's the thing for me, you know, I think about these things a lot. One of the things that we all have in common as AANHPI men is that we're all descended from people and cultures that understand something really important, that we have to take care of each other. And each and every one of us is descended from a culture who knows that the foundation of survival and success as a nation is mutual care, consideration, respect, and love, you know. But this is where we as Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, we have something really important to contribute to this country. We can lead this country in our example, bringing that prioritizing of the common good, seeking common solutions that help most people and the most kinds of people This can be so much of what we bring to the table. And this is also why I support and endorse Kamala Harris to be president of the United States. For so many of the reasons that others have shared and will share tonight, Kamala Harris is really our best hope to bring about the America that we all want to see. But on top of that, it's not just about electing a president. Look how Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have just brought people together and inspired so many. Because you see, like, we live in this paradox here in the United States of America. And the paradox is that the only way that we'll succeed as a nation is if we figure out how to find unity in our diversity. And you know what? It's happening right now, folks. And you and I can play an important part in fixing our problems, healing our wounds, and building our future. And one really important way that we can bring about the future that we all want to see is by electing Kamala Harris, President of the United States of America. I'm so proud of you and so proud of all of us.
Thank you, brother. That was really beautiful. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Dad.
Malik, let's jump to you, brother. You know, look, it's a fun panel, but I was reading with horror about a recent incident that happened to you. You are, as Parvesh mentioned, an author. One of your recent engagements at a school was canceled because of who you are, and that scares me. And you know, I'm sure it was frustrating for you. How does that experience inspire you to work even harder for the vice president?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, we're all comedians. I think we're all storytellers, I think, at the core of it. And I think as Asian Americans, we know how important it is that our stories be told, that our histories be taught in school, and that our books are allowed to be in classrooms. And so the incident that you're talking about, Mayor Purval, is both of my books feature Asian American lead characters, South Asian lead characters. Both of them feature LGBTQ characters. And just for that very fact, they have been banned in parts of the country, sometimes outright banned, sometimes soft banned. Recently, a school board in Pennsylvania tried to keep me from visiting a school simply for being an openly gay man who's written a book that features a South Asian gay lead character. And the truth is that the makeup of that school board is what almost allowed that banning to happen. That school board was the people who voted against me being there were put onto that school board by right-wing PACs, Moms for Liberty. And I was so thrilled last night when Governor Shapiro was about to introduce our next president, President Harris, and Governor Walz for the first time together, specifically talked about how important it was to stand up to the banning of our stories, and that this was an administration that would fight for inclusivity and make sure that every young person out there gets to see themselves in the pages of a book. And so to me, it's incredibly important. And by the way, I just want to build on the fashion show that happened earlier. I also have my Kamala merch. I have my 2020 Vote for Auntie sweatshirt, which I was going to wear, but I live in New York. And then I was going to wear my Kamala tank top, but I thought if my mom was watching, she might be, a little weirded out by the fact that I was wearing a tank top on TV. But I've been a supporter of VP Harris since the very beginning. I served on President Obama's Advisory Commission on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. President Biden was the vice president then. He inducted me onto that commission. When he chose Kamala Harris to be our vice president, I was over the moon when he did the amazing thing of stepping down to make way for her to be our next president. The energy, the joy, the excitement, it's so palpable. And I know that she's going to stand up for all the things that we all believe in. I'm also the co-founder of a nonprofit that started during the Obama administration for Asian American and Pacific Islander youth who are experiencing bullying. And I think almost everyone on this panel has supported our work. So thank you. Thank you for that. We're nonpartisan, so I'm not speaking on behalf of the nonprofit of Act to Change. But what I can tell you, what I experienced was under a Trump administration, Asian American youth really suffered. They suffered because of the anti-Muslim rhetoric. They suffered because of the anti-immigrant rhetoric, and they suffered because of the anti-Asian rhetoric that also drove policy. And I have full faith that a Harris-Walz presidency is going to do all the things that it needs to do to stand up for our communities, both of my communities, both as an Asian American man and as an LGBTQ person. So
Malik, what a great What a great transition, man. I am also just deeply concerned about the rise in AANHPI hate. And given the rhetoric and the racist policies from President Trump, I have fear and almost certainty that that will just continue to go up under his presidency. But we do have Hudson, I don't want to put your business out there, but you are Gen Z, you're 20 years old. You represent, frankly, the youth here on our panel. From that perspective, from that Gen Z perspective, are you seeing your generation get excited about this? Are you yourself excited about this, or just as an AANHPI leader, how are you feeling about the campaign?
I mean, I'm very excited about the campaign. I mean, to be honest, this is my first election that I actually vote in. And the honor to be able to vote for an Asian American, African American president who is also a woman as my first ticket into the election is incredible, you know. But also it's an obvious choice. We have two choices. We have a strong, independent, intelligent person of color, and we have an orange, you know. So it wasn't obvious. I think a lot of the orange is also a felon, which I think is crazy. But a lot of people who are, Gen Z, I think they see the same thing, and I hope they do, because we are in a time of such both growth in both directions, and I just hope that people my age can see there's only one choice, and one choice brings us to the future. There's not much else to say. Everyone else has said such amazing words and basically poetry. So I'm just here kind of filling in the blanks. We have to make a choice here for the future of us. You know, as Gen Z, it's our future to grow. You know, and if we don't vote, if we don't make these decisions, we're leaving it in the hands of other people. And I think, you know, whatever. So, yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And thank you for representing the young folks on this call. Certainly,
you're welcome.
Certainly part. You just stepped on my joke, Ken.
Skibbity toilet.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Sorry,
Mr.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh my God. Anyway, Ken, given that, let's bring it home. Ken, bring us home with a final comment, and then we got to move on to the next panel.
No, I sincerely love and respect everyone on this panel, everyone here tonight. Maulik, I'm just so inspired by you, especially, and your bravery and your courage just gives me goosebumps. And what is really giving me all the emotions right now is the collective community that we're all having together. And we are in this to win this, and it is more than a feeling, it's a reality.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. Thank you all to our incredible panel. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really just so generous to spend that much time. We're moving on. Again, we want to make sure that you understand that the point of this is to make sure we elect the vice president. So please donate. Please sign up to volunteer. We've got an opportunity for you to get plugged directly into the campaign. We're putting up on the screen a volunteer sign up page. We're asking you to sign up to lead a day of action, to knock on the doors, to make the phone calls, to get 10 people to vote. If every single person on this Zoom, and there are thousands and thousands on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, all across, use this QR code that's on the page right now to sign up to volunteer. Obviously, we need money, but we also need our sweat equity to bring this home. Thanks again to the comedian panel. You guys were incredible. Our next panel is also just stellar. I mean, it is just back-to-back killers tonight. I am so excited to introduce two Asian American leaders. But first, before we do that, Sri jumping in with an update. Look, this is live TV, homie. What's going on?
I can't believe I'm talking to the mayor of Cincinnati, who happens to be Asian American and part Punjabi, part Tibetan. Amazing. We're so delighted that you're with us. You and David have done an amazing job hosting us. Thank you so much. I want to read you this comment. Jessica writes, my 98-year-old mother just donated to a presidential campaign for the first time. Go Kamala. I am so emotional reading that, Mayor. It's so cool that's happening.
Beautiful.
That's just one of so many comments coming in. Johnny saying amazing and inspiring stories. Thank you all for sharing and leading. Please, folks, donate right now. Post on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. We're on all the channels. share where you're watching from, tag a friend. They can watch live or later, and this will be on all those platforms as soon as we're done. Here is You're the Floor Show for My Dinner. Great entertainment. And Alex loved seeing The Next Generation with Hudson or Dr. Ken Jeong. We're not sure who was the next generation they were talking about, but it's just so cool to see all of these people. And Richard says Asian Americans win tough elections and are the margin of victory. We'll prove it again in 2024. Merv says donated. Happy to rep with my Asian brothers and sisters on the stream. Thank you everyone who's donating. The Divining Rod Band, the Midwestern Asian American.
Yeah, there we go.
A shout out to
Sam
you,
Shim.
the Mayor. So love this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, says Brian. And we have a blue wave coming. Collective community, well said. This is all going so great. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for sharing. We are looking forward to our next panel. We have federal elected officials coming. It's going to be great. Folks, please donate. Francis says, I have 13 nieces and nephews who are old enough to vote, and I've been badgering them with info to make sure they vote, and not just for the vice president. We want all across the ballot. Down ballot's really important. Sending love from the islands. Awesome stuff, says Haida. Thank you very much. When we fight, we win. I love these stories. Greetings from LA. And Pluto asks, can we please try to flip Ohio?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Sherrod Brown is up for re-election this year. We have to send him back to the Senate in order to make sure that the vice president, when she is president, has a governing majority in the Senate and also in the House. Absolutely. Ohio, and look, you're talking to an Ohio guy, so I'm going to brag about my state. We enshrined abortion rights in our Constitution. LFG, baby. Ohio is back, and we are going to send Sherrod Brown back to the Senate. Look, let's talk about the big boys. We got the big boys here. We've talked about statewide. We've talked about mayors. We've talked about state reps. Now let's talk about the federal folks. And we're so proud to have two incredible leaders with us tonight. First, we're going to hear from Representative Andy Kim, who is going to be our next senator from the great state of New Jersey. And then the Honorable Ted Lieu of California, who is originally from Cleveland. I'm gonna continue to reiterate that, from Cleveland, Ohio, baby. Another crazy Midwestern Asian. Andy Kim, take it away, brother.
Yeah, hi. Thanks so much for having me on. Good to see you, Aftab, and good to see everybody. I just have to say, I've been going around the New Jersey today, and I have to tell you, the energy is out of control. This has been so incredible to see how fired up people are and the electricity that's out there. But I wanted to just share with you one story, if you don't mind. I wanted to share with you something that gives me a sense of not just what the next 3 months will be like, but what the next 4 years will be like with a President Kamala Harris. Just about 2 months ago, I won the Democratic nomination to be the next United States Senator for New Jersey. And it was an incredible moment. But at that time, what people don't really know is that my father, just a few weeks before primary day, had a major health crisis, a major emergency. And my family, we've been struggling with this ever since. And I'll be honest with you, it has been tough. It has really shaken our family to the core. Not sure what's going to happen next. And a lot of things turned upside down. And right after that primary, I got a phone call from Kamala Harris. And she was telling me how excited she is that, I could be the first Korean American in the Senate, the first Asian American in the Senate from the entire East Coast of America. She asked me, how are you feeling? And I was honest with her. I told her this is a moment of a lot of excitement, but a lot of challenge as well. And I told her about what my family's going through. And I just have to share with you, how much heart that the vice president had. I know she was not going to do a long phone call, but she ended up staying on with me for probably far too long. I'm sure her staff was telling her that she needs to move on, but she wanted to listen to me. She wanted to hear what's going on, the challenges that we're facing, and she gave me some incredible thoughts about what it is that I need to do. I remember her telling me, you only have one father. You got to make sure that you're there. You got to make sure that you're putting the family front, that even when I'm running for Senate, that I have to carve out space to be able to do this. So I just wanted to share that with you, because with all that she has going on, with all that's going on in the world, she carved out time to be able to take on my pain, my family's challenge. And that is someone that I believe in. That is someone that I know has the kind of moral compass that we need, has the kind of North Star that we need. Someone who will be able to be in the Oval Office and retain and remind themselves that they are fighting for all of our humanity and that we can push this forward. So I wanted to share that with you, because Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, this is a ticket. This is a duo. These are leaders that aren't just about getting things done. It's about making sure that we treat people well along the way and that we don't lose sight of our humanity. So I'm just so excited, really excited to be here with Ted Lieu and my other colleagues to make sure we're leading this up. So thanks for letting me say a few words.
Thank you so much, Andy, for that wonderful presentation. I know the entire AANHPI community is so thrilled that you're going to be the next senator from the great state of New Jersey. Congratulations. I am so honored to be on this call. I want to thank all the organizers for putting together this terrific event. Let me bring all of you back a few years ago to the pandemic, when there was a shocking rise in hate crimes against people that look like you and me. During the height of the pandemic, there was a surge of 339% in hate crimes against the AANHPI community. And certainly that was occurred or happened partly because of what the former president, Donald Trump, said and did. He said racist phrases like Kung Flu. He blamed the pandemic on people who are Chinese. He even today continues to make fun of Elaine Chao's name. When Donald Trump makes fun of the name of an Asian American, he's not only disrespecting Elaine Chao, he's disrespecting you and your family and the entire AANHPI community. Thank goodness Kamala Harris does not do that. As a prosecutor, she prosecuted hate crimes. I had the honor of endorsing Kamala Harris 5 years ago. I was the first member of Congress to endorse Kamala Harris for president. I was 5 years early. I'm so excited I can do it again now, and she's going to win. I know that she is an amazing public servant, having served as an attorney general in California. I had the chance to work with her when I was in the state legislature in California, and then again when I was in Congress and she was in the U.S. Senate. And she has the best interests of America at heart. And I'm so thrilled she selected Tim Walz as a running mate. I had the honor of serving with Tim when he was in Congress. He is down to earth, he's funny, and he's not at all weird. And this ticket has now captivated America. My colleagues elected me as vice chair of the House Democratic Caucus, the number 4 position in leadership. And I've had the opportunity to travel around America trying to flip House seats. I'm actually in Michigan today, helping out frontline members and red and blue members. And the energy is off the charts. And with this energy, we're going to flip the House, we're going to keep the Senate, and we're going to win the White House again. And you can help by going to that QR code, scan it into your phone, and making a donation. That's the single best way that you can help Kamala Harris and Tim Walz win. You can also engage in direct voter contact by writing postcards, doing phone banks, and going to swing states and knocking on doors. But the most efficient use of resources is simply to donate money, because the Kamala Harris campaign can buy TV ads at basically 20% of the rate of a super PAC. So if you were to give Kamala Harris and Tim Walz their campaign $100, it's like giving a super PAC $500. So just give them another $100. And with that, I'm so excited to also introduce, I think we have another member of Congress coming on, Kalili Sablan, and I'm going to turn over to the great representative from the Northern Mariana Islands.
Well, thank you, Ted. And Andy, congratulations also on being the next senator from New Jersey. It's good to join Ted and Andy here. I had to show the flag for the Pacific Islander in Congress, the Democratic member. I look back and I think if Dr. Underwood was still in Congress, he'd be here, right here also as well. But look, people speak to the vice president running for president. We're all excited about that whole thing. The one thing I could speak to is I served with Tim Walsh in the Veterans Affairs Committee for 2 terms, and this guy is one of the most easy guy to work with. He's very practical in his thoughts. He's a happy person. He's just really happy. He inquires about issues. Where I'm from, the Pacific, the territories I came in, the VA had no presence. I started working with him and started getting things done. We carried it on to Mark Takano, and this is a good guy. This is a guy. I am not a Midwesterner, but this is an American that I can be proud to call my friend. So please, Pacific Islanders, I'm asking you, consider the Harris-Walz team is in the best interest of Pacific Americans, both there in the mainland and also at home in the territories. Please donate. Please pick up the phone. You know how we do it. We call our friends, who call their friends, who call their friends. So let's get this moving and get Vice President Harris and Governor Walz elected in November. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kilili. I'm going to ask each of you one question to close this out. So, Andy, what most excites you about Kamala Harris?
Yeah, well, look, I shared that story, but beyond that, I mean, look, the energy that's out there, the joy that she brings into it, and just seeing her and Walz just tearing JD Vance apart has been very entertaining to watch. A lot of excitement across the board in so many ways. But I have to say, here in New Jersey, I was the first Asian American, the first AANPI elected to federal office from New Jersey, and then I just have to say, there's so much excitement because this November, New Jersey will have AANHPI to be able to vote for President of the United States, and then me right underneath for the U.S. Senate. So we're coming in strong here in New Jersey, and I think people are recognizing that this is a new generation of leadership stepping up. And also, I think there is this excitement. I think there really is a feeling that the next 10 years will be probably the most dynamic and exciting and energetic decade for AANHPIs in politics, not just in New Jersey, but around the country. So we're fired up. It's inspiring a lot of young people to get engaged and show up at these events that we're doing. So I think that's one thing that I just feel so blessed to have with Vice President Kamala Harris at the top.
Thank you so much, Andy. And Representative Sablan, I know you serve on a Veterans Committee. By the way, if we flip the House, Congressman Mark Takano will be chair of the Veterans Committee. He's currently
we're in good hands. We're in good hands with Mark. But I will say,
Representative Sablan, you said you served with Tim Walz on the Veterans Committee. What most excites you about Tim?
The guy is normal. He's a normal guy. No pretense. He doesn't act as the chair, the ranking. He sits down and he talks to you, and if he doesn't understand, he asks you a question or asks you to explain yourself. But this is a normal guy. The other guys are weird. Those people on the other side. So I'm happy, very, very happy with Mr. Walz, Governor Walz, and of course our good Vice President Harris. Also, the programs are the Democratic Party carry are just the most impact and long-lasting impact to my people and Pacific Islanders here and also throughout the nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that concludes this panel. And let me just urge everyone again, you can stop the weirdness by making a donation right now and having Kamala Harris and Tim Walz win.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. What an incredible panel. I'm so grateful for all of your leadership at the federal level. David, it's been a great night so far. Do we have a fundraising update? The last I saw was we were a little over 100,000.
I think we have hit over half of our goal, which is amazing at this point, and we've actually been able to make good on those match contributions. And this has really been a great night. I have to say, listening to the members of Congress, I think we've got a new campaign slogan. We are the party of MANA, make America normal again.
I love that.
And I just want to say, to see these members of Congress I'm sure this is the case for all of us who are Asian American electeds. We all grew up not seeing Asian members of Congress, and just appreciate their fight for us and our community. I hope everyone's having a great time at home. I don't think I expected to laugh so much or be so moved or inspired. And speaking of that, we just heard that there is a watch party that is going on. So I think we're going to take a moment and we'll zoom into someone's house just for a second.
Hey everyone, we're here at Garden Grove supporting the AANHPI Men for Kamala Harris. Let's go.
Kamala! 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 Kamala!
Wow, the bro in the button down, bringing the energy. First of all, was that somebody's house? Did somebody live in like a club?
That was somebody's house, and dude, that was California. That was Garden Grove. Is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Although I got to admit,
that's not what Cincinnati houses look like. Let me just say that.
I have to make a confession, man. I didn't realize Ted had Ohio roots. I was born in Cleveland.
You were the Cleve. Flee to the Cleve, baby. Why did you guys leave? You got to come back. I need your help. Come on, man. We got lawyers in Ohio. It's everywhere. They're everywhere.
We will come and visit. We will come and visit, man.
Look, I'm really honored that it's not just David. It's not just elected officials. It's not just comedians. It's not just actors and superheroes. We're also incredibly honored to have the premier magician from Las Vegas, Shin Lim. He has redefined the way close-up magic is presented by performing carefully self-choreographed routines. We were in Vegas recently for the AAPI lead event, and he did some of his magic in front of us. Huge news for everyone who's a fan of Shin Lim. He is announcing a new residency at the Palazzo Theater at the Venetian Resort, Las Vegas. Shin, thank you so much for being here, brother. I'm so honored that you're here to participate in this show.
Oh, thanks for having me. How's it going?
It's going great, man. Well, look, I'm not going to be so bold to ask you to do any magic, but you know, we're here.
I just performed just now. I'm at the Venetian right now. I'm in the green room.
That's awesome, man. We're getting a little behind the scenes here, David.
Actually, I do have a magic question I want to ask. Can you make Donald Trump? Can you make Donald Trump just disappear?
Only card tricks. Only card tricks, unfortunately.
He's a card trick. Come on.
Yeah, well, Shim, tell us why you're so passionate about this campaign. You obviously were part of the AAPI lead event, which works to provide a pipeline of elected officials, AANHPI elected officials from local office to statewide to federal. So generous, and you're here today. Why do you keep showing up for the community?
Because I really felt like I was so welcomed. You know, I really felt welcomed and appreciated. I had 3 different childhoods. I was born in Vancouver, Canada, and then that was like a third of my childhood, and the other third was in Singapore, where my parents are originally from. So I am Singaporean. And then later, when I was 11, I moved to Boston, and the rest is history. So I'm neither a Democrat or a Republican. I guess that makes me an independent. Although maybe my friends would say I do lean to the left a little bit, but I don't really consider myself either. But there was something about Kamala that really spoke to me. Maybe it's because her parents are also immigrant parents as well. And for me, that I really connected with that. And I feel it's also about time, I think, that we have a woman president, a female president.
Yeah. Well, look, I love the fact that you're not a Democrat or a Republican, but an independent, open-minded. Look, you're the most popular kind of person in politics. You are what we are all working to direct our resources, our messaging to. And the fact that you are not just voting for the vice president, but here advocating for her is a real boost to the campaign and to all of our sanity, hoping we can find people like you to raise their hand. So thank you for your activism. David, are you a fan of magic? Are you a big magic guy, David?
You know, I have to say, as a kid, I used to try to take those little kits, but man, what you were doing on America's Got Talent and just mesmerizing the world, brother, you got talent.
Oh, thank you, David. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, anything to close us off with? Thank you again for all your time.
No, it's all right. I just I hope the best for this country, and we'll see where it goes. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Well, if viewers at home are ever in Vegas, please check out Shin's show. It's incredible at the Venetian. Thank you so much for joining, Shin. We really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Shin.
Absolutely.
And try working on that. Make Donald Trump disappear.
I'll try. I'm going to try my best.
I don't know if he can find a box big enough, but we'll work on that. Go ahead, David.
Thank you, Shin. We want to just take a moment and just remind people again of that little QR code in the corner. As was mentioned earlier, we have another wonderful business leader from the Northeast who has stepped up. Want to thank the chairman of Freepoint Solar, Sheldon Pang, who has agreed to match dollar for dollar contributions that are coming in up to another $25,000. So thank you, Sheldon, for that. And one thing I want to just say is you think about how much to give. Think about this. In 2016, Donald Trump won by 80,000 votes across 3 states. And just imagine if you wake up on November 6th and we have lost by a handful of votes. What would you contribute today to make sure that that doesn't happen again? So think about that as you hit the QR code.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And let's get to our next panel. But before we do, we have a special shout out. One of our host committee members, Mayor Ron Nirenberg, mayor of the great city of San Antonio. Hopefully, I've just announced his gubernatorial run. He's been such an advocate for this event, such an advocate for AANHPIs, not just in his city, but around the country. He also is the buffest mayor in the entire country. You should see this guy's biceps. He works so incredibly hard. I got to know Mayor Ron when we both went to Dharamsala in northern India to have some time with His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. He leads the mayor's work around empathy and kindness, and so incredibly proud to have him on the team. In fact, he's the reason why one of our legends, Lou Diamond Phillips, is on this program. So shout out to Mayor Ron. Thank you so much for your advocacy and for your partnership, brother. We really appreciate it. Our next panel is really exciting. Obviously we've been talking a lot about Asian, South Asian. We've been talking so much about our community, but we really wanted to intentionally lift up Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders, a community that unfortunately too often gets overlooked or not included. It was our intention to make sure that this was the broad spectrum of our community, lifting up voices that aren't often seen and lifting up communities that are achieving incredible things in this country. And these next panelists are no exception to that. I'm so proud of the fact that Salah Baker, DJ E-Rock, his real name is Eric, and Darius Kila are here, moderated by the legend himself, Joey Kinga. So Joey, I'll let you take it away.
Oh my goodness. What an introduction. Thank you so much. Super excited to be on this panel, super humbled. And ladies and gentlemen out there, if you're checking in, make sure that you guys support our brother Shin Lim as he tries to work his magic to make someone disappear, as we all know. So once again, my name is Joey Kinga, checking in from the island of Hollywood, California. I am a proud Micronesian Pacifica radio host here in Hollywood with Island City. And we have before us an incredible panel that will be joining us. We got DJ E-Rock, raised in the Bay Area. He's made his mark in radio, sporting events, and along the Vegas Strip. He is a newlywed based in the 9th island of Las Vegas. Also, we have a Hawaii State House of Representative, District 44, which represents Honokai Hale Nanakuli Maili won the election in 2022. Our native Hawaiian Kanaka Maoli brother, the Honorable Darius Keela. Last but not least, born in Aotearoa, or you may know it as New Zealand, he's an actor, a stuntman, known for being the character Sauron in The Lord of the Rings. He's also been on Deadpool, Sherlock Holmes, and many more. Very good friend, very good uso of mine, Samoan actor and stuntman. We got Sala Baker. Gentlemen, thank you guys for joining.
Thank you for having us.
We're going to go ahead and do the shakas out there for everyone out there, man. Thank you guys for joining us. Hey, first things, we're going to make this very short, very simple. Why? What is the reason why you guys are jumping on this very important campaign right now? Honorable Darius Keela, you can start with you can start first.
First of all, hello everybody, coming from the great state of Hawaii. It is such a pleasure to be here amongst you folks and being in this space, occupying as Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders. I was 26 when I got elected, and I'm 28 now. And I think about in 2016 when I didn't show up to vote and what happened. And ever since then, that was what started my activism. And I look out every single time when we show up, we get the results we need and we desperately need. So even more so in 2024, lifting up Vice President Kamala Harris, it is a future for our Native Hawaiian and Pacific Island brothers and sisters to be at the table in the forefront at the White House and let folks know we are still here.
Well said, brother. Well said. DJ E-Rock, we're going to go ahead and kick this over to you. You're in Las Vegas. Many people know it as the Ninth Island, huge Pacifica community out there. What is your reason for being on this panel with us this evening?
I think it's when I think about this election, it definitely speaks to my soul like no other. Not only am I also AANHPI of descent, I'm Filipino American. I'm also born and raised in the Bay Area, which is obviously where Kamala Harris is from. So I grew up watching her journey this entire time, and I've always been inspired by everything that she's done. I also think about the future, my nieces, my nephews, the potential of my nieces, their rights being revoked. My nephews that dream big and want to open up their own businesses, own their own homes, start their own families, that could come under threat as well. So, I'm here today to pledge my support behind Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, to ensure victory and, to inspire others that, not only is today at stake, but also the future, and I believe that she has the will and the might and the heart, to make everything happen. So that's why I'm here today. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to kind of voice my perspective.
I love it, bro. I love it. I mean, it's so important that our NHPI brothers and sisters, AANHPI brothers and sisters, have a voice, right? And our vote counts. I want to make sure that we continue to press upon the call to action. We'd like you guys to tell 10 friends to vote. Definitely want to volunteer, donate, check out the QR code. It's over there on that side, to definitely support and be on the right side of history. Over there, yeah. Sala Baker, Mauso.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we had a conversation, and you were expressing to me why it's so important that you support Kamala Harris to be our next president. Go ahead and share with the folks our conversation.
Yeah, I have never, born and raised in New Zealand, Samoan mother and father who immigrated from Samoa. I've never really been a political person. But when you have to choose between two certain people, one kind of leans more towards looking out for our rights. And also what's big for me is our daughters, our sisters, our mothers, and their reproductive rights, being able to, have someone who looks like us and who can represent us. And also, like our brother Darius is talking about, can also talk about clean energy for our islands and make sure our people are involved in the conversation. Being a world traveler myself, I always go to the local places and see where the people are and who look like me, so I can see how they live in these places. And it's always, you know, a difficult situation to see that, but to see all our people all over the world coming together and also having someone who looks like us, and that can represent us in a way, just like a motherly figure. We've never had a woman in office, and having that motherly figure look out for us and be on the right side of history, like Joey and I have talked about, taking care of our people, and like Gary said, being a part of the conversation, you know. And I really love what we're doing, and I want to support our Madam Vice President, our President, elect, Kamala Harris. So I'm here for it, to support and be there for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Glenn wrote in the chat, he goes, with Sauron with us, we shall win, or something to the effect. I was like, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
We have the power.
All right. We got the power, fellas. There's something that's very dear to me personally, and I want to get your take on it. With being an NHPI person, Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders, we all understand the importance of climate change, and we believe in science and how that can affect our home, right? So, Darius, I want to kick this off to you. Your thoughts on climate change and how climate change literally disproportionately affects our island communities. So your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely. And Joey, before I go into that, I think we have to acknowledge that behind all strong NHPI men were the amazing women that brought us up into this world. So to my grandma who is watching, I'm so grateful that she uplifted me to be in these roles that we existed. Look, FestFact just occurred in Hawaii, which is called the Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture. And one of our elders had told the room that we are the smallest islands in the world with the smallest populations, but the largest responsibility to the Pacific Ocean. And when I heard that, and even till now, the chicken skin and goosebumps I think about my community in District 44, Maili Nanakuli, houses that were forced to live right near the ocean that is now disappearing. What is going to happen in 30 years when climate change takes away our coastline and these homes are going to fall into the ocean? They did not choose to live there, but they were forced and displaced because military took the land and other folks took land, so they were forced to be in these situations. I do not want to see more Native folks leaving Hawaii, because if we do not have Native people in these Native spaces, someone else will come and take the character and identity. So when we talk about the real issues of climate change, our beaches are disappearing, our ocean life is decimated, and our corals are disappearing. So we have to find leadership that knows the value of our Pacific chain and our islands and what role we play to making sure that Hawaii and the world and our country is stabilized.
No, thank you, brother. I'd love, E-Rock, I'd love to get your thoughts on that as well.
I think it's important that we concentrate on the decisions we make today, because they obviously affect everything tomorrow. In my eyes, climate change is definitely real. We have a thing here in Nevada where our water supply is disappearing. So what happens 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now if we don't make those right decisions today? I firmly believe that Kamala has the vision and the path and like I said, the will, to make sure that we are protected and we protect our land at the best way possible.
Mr. Baker, thoughts?
I mean, all I can think about is our people in Maui, Lahaina. They're talking about returning the water back to the people. They're talking about, regrowing the land so we, like our brother Darius is talking about, we are the caretakers of the land, right? We've done it for centuries. It's been keeping our people alive and well and thriving for years, right? For a long time when we basically sailed there. And so talking about climate change, talking about Lahaina and how the fight is still alive, the fight is still going, and our people are still displaced and still finding it's too expensive like Darius is saying, it's too expensive for our people to live there now. They're trying to put them in these housings. The housing is $5,000 for a small family. It's really sad to see. And all these things that are happening around the world, sometimes our people like kind of get pushed to the side a bit. And with the climate change things with Kamala, I think that can help us kind of redirect that to, taking care of our people, because if you give it back to us, we can grow the land back to help everyone thrive. But if you want to take it and do whatever you decide to do with it without the people, I'll just leave it there, because there's other things that are in play than, politics and stuff. But it's just, we need to get it back to the people and take care of the land. So it can and do take care of us.
100%, bro. Bafatai lava for that. That's an important message. You guys, once again, we want to encourage everybody to tell 10 friends to vote. We need volunteers from now until Election Day and beyond. We'd love for you to consider going to this QR code and donating for the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris. One thing that she's often spoke about, Kamala Harris has often spoke about the importance of representation, right? And diversity and leadership. How do you guys think that her presidency would impact representation of our NHPI individuals?
I think it's going to be huge, right? Because in order for a young Kamala or a young Darius to see themselves in the positions of power and change, it's going to take Madam Vice President to become president. It's going to take other Dariuses to be in these spaces that often weren't meant for us. I always talk about, in the earliest inceptions of Hawaii government, it was never meant to serve our people. So now the fact that we have a chance to interject, change, and move forward, this is huge, huge.
This has been such an incredible panel. Joey, you should really make this a full-time profession, just hosting Zooms around the country. Thank you so much for lifting up these strong, powerful voices. Thank you guys so much for prioritizing a conversation about climate change. Obviously, no one is more personally impacted. No one understands the reality of that more than our Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders. Thank you so much, gentlemen. This was incredible.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mahalo.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Mahalo.
much.
Throw that chocolate.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brothers.
Thank you, guys. David, what's next, brother?
All right. Well, first of all, I also just have to give a shout out to our NHPI brothers for raising it up and reminding us how we are living in this existential crisis when it comes to our climate. And that may be long-term the most important thing that could be at stake in this election. And so thank you for reminding us of that. And also thank you for reminding us that we are here to support our sisters and our mothers and the next and first woman president of the United States.
Yeah, that's why we're here. I mean, the Black women immediately mobilized. Our AANHPI sisters mobilized and raised a bunch of money on short notice. They paved the way for us. So shout out to them. I think you're absolutely right, David.
So our next panel, I have to say, we had trouble trying to figure out exactly what we're going to name this because
this is so exciting. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I am so excited about this. This is so cool.
These folks are so iconic, and I have to say, I've been fanboying for days as we've been realizing who might be joining us. And these are the legends that we all grew up watching that defined Asian men when it came to our pop culture. So I want to bring onto the stage 4 incredible folks. We got B.D. Wong, we've got Tai Ma, we've got Lou Diamond Phillips, and Barry Young. Come on up and let's do this.
Hey, y'all.
Gentlemen.
Hey.
This is so cool.
All right.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. We refer to you as our legends.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for being
Man.
legends.
Thank you for having
What
us.
kind of legend? What are we talking about here?
You know, we're going to talk about many things.
Hey, Jay, man, I tell you, sorry I missed your call, man. I tried to call you back, and then I said,
good. I was stuck in
your
the show already.
message says city attorney, and I said, oh shit, I'm getting arrested. I had to put my hands up. I was ready to go. Oh, wait a
You
second.
got to pay your tickets, Todd. Pay your tickets.
I don't drive, man. It's all good. So those tickets are bogus.
No, he's a heck of a jaywalker, though.
They are.
Oh,
I didn't hear that. As your lawyer, I don't answer that question. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
You
Yes,
have the right
sir.
to remain silent. Anything you
Yes,
say.
sir.
Yeah, listen, we've got just an incredible cast here, and we could probably talk for an hour with any of them. But let me just make a couple of introductions, and maybe we'll start with Beatty. You were the first up to say, you know, you want to do this, and I got to say, you were the first Asian famous person I knew when you were the lead in M Butterfly, the only actor in Broadway history to receive not just a Tony Award, but 5 of the top awards for Broadway actors. We've seen you in Jurassic Park, in Law and Order, Mr. Robot. You know, all of you guys have broken barriers, but Beatty, I want you to start the conversation. And Ty, you know, what do you think were the keys to your success in breaking barriers, and how does that relate to this presidential race when we know that Kamala Harris has to break the ultimate barriers when it comes to the bamboo ceiling, when it comes to the glass ceiling? What are your thoughts on, you know, your reflections on your perspective in your life and how it ties into today?
Well, you know, I've been watching this whole thing from the very beginning, and I have found it so incredibly amazing and moving because of the whole idea that you're talking about of representation and what it has meant to us all over the years. And here we are in this incredible moment, this historic feeling moment, and we are having this gathering of our own together, and we're all kind of seeing, oh look, there's Ted Lieu, and then there's Ken Jeong, and you know, kind of pointing the finger and looking around at all of our histories and accomplishments and how they have all brought us together to come behind this presidential candidate, and how important that is, but also as a community, how important that is for us to experience that with one another. I find that super moving. And it's very rare that we ever get these opportunities to kind of come together in this way. And so this event is super important that way. Everything that she represents as vice president, it's already been put on the table. Her representation as vice president of the United States, that is just a huge thing that is exponentially going to explode for all of the young people in this country when we elect her president. And I just, you know, I could talk forever about the policies and the reasons why I'm behind her and the ticket. None the least of which is because she's Asian American and I'm Asian American, and one of your own achieve such an incredible position of success and importance when they're ready for the job is a rare experience. And like I said, it feels very historical to me. But what I really want us to all do is kind of get together and really continue to encourage people to donate money. That's why we're all here, and to roll up our sleeves and participate in this election, because what I really feel is that we have a very specific role as Asian Americans in this particular election. Asian Americans play a very specific role in all of the swing states. We have a history of, I don't know what you would call them, maybe fiscally conservative Asian Americans who are undecided about who they're voting for. They're not necessarily as interested in the bigger picture of the reproductive rights and the LGBTQ rights and things like that. But they're looking kind of in a very specific area of why they're choosing to make their vote, and they are the ones who we need to persuade. When we're talking about 10 people to persuade, if we can persuade those people to not only vote, but to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, we are going to be extremely influential in this election. We are going to make a difference. The swing states, I have been a presidential volunteer surrogate for the Democratic presidential candidate for the last 4 elections. I've learned so much in this incredibly rich experience. And one of the things I've learned is the value of the Asian American vote. And in these swing states where the vote is very close and where every vote matters, like handfuls of votes can make a big, big difference. And I think through our volunteering, using our language skills. If people, I'm encouraging people to go and volunteer who are bilingual and trilingual, so that we can talk to Asian elders and things like that about the vote, and really get out there and knock on doors and make phone calls. That is where I think our value is really the most going to go. We're going to get the most bang for our buck. And I really, that's why I came here, and I've waited this whole program so that I could say that, but also to say, to answer your question, the representation of this, of how we come to the table and how she comes to the table and how we must be behind her in order to make this moment in history happen for her and for us is incredible. And it is, you know, I'm in several communities. I'm a great grandchild of immigrants. I'm an actor trying to make a living in the crazy, sometimes racist environment of the entertainment industry. And I'm a surrogate for an Asian American presidential candidate. And in all three of those communities, I have understood and learned what it means to recognize an opportunity when I see one. And that comes from my great-grandparents coming here to make a better life and understanding what every single little opportunity was. And it trickles down to all my other identities. And that idea of understanding what this opportunity means to us as a community and as individuals who care about the policies, sure, but also who care about the representation is palpable and full of joy and full of excitement. And I'm just wanting to share that I'm bursting with that with all of you great guys. I've been admirers. I've admired all of you over the years. I've worked with you, some of you, and it's incredible to be here with you. And for us to share this moment of kind of telling people what to, you know, how they can make a difference, right?
Yeah, you know, when you invited me onto this room, legends, I was like, oh my God, these guys are the legends. You know, I've seen them kick down the doors and demand a place at the table. You know, like I saw La Bamba in the theater and I went, oh my God, I want to do that, you know? And then I moved to New York City and BD Wong was on Broadway and then Butterfly, you know? And then I saw Rush Hour and there's Thai, you know? And I learned that Thai's a Chinatown guy like me, you know? And I'm like, God, I don't think I'm a legend like you guys. I just see you guys and go, I'm still like, wow, I'm fanboying out here, you know? But in terms of what you said, what connects us in this moment is being Asian American or Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, right? In this moment with the sister in the house. Yes, this is the moment because of all the violence we face. And I'm so, you know, I'm first and fourth generation. I'm pretty close to being immigrants, firstborn in my country, but I could feel Kamala's, like allegiance or to her family, her mother, you know, her fathers, they're immigrants. Another reason why I love Kamala is she was born in Oakland, California, where I was born in 1964, the year I was born in a hospital near MacArthur and Broadway, possibly the same hospital where I was born. So I understand where Kamala's coming from. You know, it's like Oakland is a very unique city that represents America, all of America in many ways, because it's the people go through. Oaklanders know how to survive, right? You know, they've seen its share. We've seen our share of oppression, right? Of violence. And how do we get out of that? And we fought for that over. You look at history and you understand history. So I see that, you know, I just want to share one thing, this 15-second clip right here that put it on to context for me, right? So let's see if this works.
No, that sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open. Sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that door down.
She dropped the F-bomb there, right? She dropped the F-bomb. It's all in the news. Kamala Harris said, you got to kick that effing door down if they don't hold it open for you. So I saw all that in you guys, right? The legends right around me that you guys kept kicking that door down so that I can come into the room and do some camera work. And I'm just amazed that I'm sitting here and the three of us or four of us, all of us here today are working towards a shared goal of getting an AANHPI women represented into the presidency of the United States.
Thank you, Perry. You know, one thing I just want to say, I didn't have a chance to introduce Perry, but for those of you who haven't watched Warrior, Perry, you might have caused me to not get sleep for a couple of months earlier this year, because the series depicts my city of San Francisco in the 1870s after the Chinese Exclusion Act and showcases the incredible anti-Asian discrimination and racism and violence that is repeating itself in history under Donald Trump. And so just thank you for opening that up. I want to bring Lou Diamond Phillips into the conversation. Perry mentioned that all of us in 1987 wanted to be Richie Valens and La Bamba. Thank you for that. Your Golden Globe nomination for Stand and Deliver, Young Guns. But my question for you, and I'm sure you've been thinking about this, is you're a Hapa brother. You are Filipino, but you also have Native American, Scottish, Irish blood in you. We are watching Kamala Harris get attacked by Donald Trump because of her biracial background. And you are someone who, I'm sure as you're working your way through the industry, didn't fit easily in any box, and you had to deal with that. I'm just curious your perspective on that, particularly as we watch our candidate go through what she's going through.
They still don't know what box to put me in, brother. You know what I'm saying?
You're in our box.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, I mean, I've always said my career, you know, kind of represents the UPS logo. What can Brown do for you? And, you know, I've been so honored to represent so many different communities, whether it be the Latino community or, you know, the Native American community, or finally getting to play Asian on Broadway in The King and I, you know, and I've been playing Filipino a lot more lately, which is actually pretty wonderful because we're so much more aware. But this is something that we're dealing with. And Perry, thank you for saying that, because, you know, yes, some of us opened up some doors and we kept our foot in the door so people could keep coming in behind us. And that's what we're doing. And when we talk about FaceTime, this is exactly, you know, what we mean. Get out there, represent, put your face where your mouth is, and show people that this is what America looks like. And for those people who think in simple black and white, and I mean that both figuratively and literally, you know, they have to understand that there is more nuance and you know, more complexity to Americans and to the Asian American experience than meets the eye. I mean, the Asian American umbrella, the AANHPI, you know, movement is not monolithic. We come from many different areas, many different regions. We have different experiences. But as we sit here today, we're all Americans and we're all voters. And, you know, I look back on one of my proudest moments when I was 16 years old. I trained my mother, Lucy Filipina, to take her citizenship test. I'd love to see a lot of people on the other side of the aisle take that citizenship test too, because I'm not so sure they could pass it. But she did pass it. And then I stood next to her when she took her oath of citizenship. So I am indeed a first generation American. I was born with dual citizenship. And so I was very fortunate to a military father. And, you know, once again, there's a lot, you know, Ted Lieu, what an amazing man. My friend Ron Nierenberg, you know, Military City, San Antonio. You know, it offends me that you know, they've taken patriotism and the flag and everything else and wrapped themselves in it. When, believe me, you know, there are patriots on this side. There are people who support our military on this side. And we, by the way, we put our money where our mouth is. We pass the bills. We pass the bills to take care of our vets. So, as many, you know, people have said, and as BD has so eloquently put, you know, this is time for us to mobilize. This is time for us to get out there. I want to share one quick story. I did a similar event with then candidate Kamala for vice president back in 2019, and my teenage daughter, who's on the spectrum, wanted to say hello, and Kamala took the time not only to say hello to her, but then when Indigo said, I'm so sorry, I'm not old enough to vote for you, she empowered her by saying, yes, but you know your heart and you know what you want to do in this life, and you know that you have an opinion. And, you know, she gave this young woman, this young girl at the time, you know, that kind of hope. And that's what she does for so many people that she covers. I mean, we talk about the bamboo ceiling, the glass ceiling. I mean, there's so many ceilings. I mean, you know, Kamala could live in a high rise, you know, with all the ceilings she's got to break through. So, you know, we support her, we're behind her, and we keep doing that. And we understand that representation is something that we need to bring our nation into the 21st century.
Thank you, Lou. I gotta say, I don't know for the other viewers, but I wish any number of you guys had run for office. We're gonna have to have another conversation. I, of course, want to bring the legend of legends into this conversation. For those of you who have not had a chance to look at all of the various things that Tai Ma has been, the list, 51 years of breaking barriers, of seeing Hollywood evolve over time, from an industry that was not welcome to our faces on this screen. And I just have to ask you, what are your thoughts at this moment, both as you think about how you came up, but as you watch how a fellow sister could finally achieve and grab that, the ring that actually does rule them all?
Let me tell you something. Kamala Harris, Madam President soon to be, I am a transplant Angelino, so I am very familiar with her rise and her hard work and how articulate she is and how considerate she is. And I could not find a better person to lead America than our sister, Kamala Harris. And I tell you, there are many paths to success. It depends on what your definition of success is. I try to avoid all the shining objects. I try to do the things that I feel that speaks to me, to my heart. And those are the roads that I want to try to take. And I try to take it in a way where it's as much diversity as we can. And I do not subscribe to ethno-specific acting. I think we should really be open to accept all the AAPI actors in the community and to be any AAPI ethnicity as they choose to do. And I tell you, really this is just a part of being an actor, to be a part of all of this excitement. And Kamala Harris, our assumed president to be, is the right leader at the right time. I personally, before heard the announcement, I was depressed, man. I'm sorry. I could not even get myself to promote some of the stuff that I've been in. And I just feel that they were frivolous and I couldn't do it. I was depressed. And then once I heard the announcement, man, I was like raised the roof, man. I was like the joyous, rocking and dancing and moving. I'm telling you, it is just, I think what we need to do is to understand that participation is everything. We need to participate. We need to go and vote. We need to convince other people to vote. We got to continue to be an activist. We cannot afford not to be an activist, as a person of color. We always have to participate. We cannot be indifferent. We cannot sit back and let other people take the lead. We constantly have to take the lead, no matter what happens, man. No pain, no gain, no guts, no glory, man. I'm telling you, this is the word from the late great Marco, who's one of my greatest mentors. And he said, you know what? Take chances, man. That's what we got to do. And we have to continue to not only, kick the door down. We got to occupy the room. We got to be part of the table. And we have a seat at the table finally at this moment. And you know what? It doesn't take an advanced degree to know how important this election is. Everything at stake, that's facing the America that we know. And we got to bring that back. And that is the most important thing for all of us. And I really don't think there's such a stretch for us to get this done. We are going to get it done and we're going to win.
Yeah, brother.
Word.
Word.
I just word, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. The legends have spoken, and you all are legends. I mean, I grew up watching all of you. You all inspired me. Seeing someone who looked like you on TV excelling in the creative arts opened up entire possibilities that I didn't think would be possible. So I'm just so grateful for your activism, for your talent, and for being here today. David, I'm sure you're as awestruck as I am.
Well, listen, I think we could probably go on for hours and hope that we can do this in other contexts. But and one of the challenges with this format is you can't hear all the people who are clapping around
right.
America for you guys, for who you have been and who you are and how you speak to us. But BD Wong, Tai Ma, Lou Diamond Phillips, Perry Young, thank you. Thank you for being legends.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
David.
us.
Thanks for the shout out.
Let's
too.
go.
Thank you.
Donate, everyone. Let's get this
Donate.
show on the
Yes.
road.
Yes, it costs money to run an election, man. Let's put the dollar where it belongs, man. Put that dollar where it belongs.
Let's do it.
Thank
Let's
you
do it.
for reinforcing that. We have 10,000 people watching on various channels right now, an incredible audience. That's the good news. The challenging news is we are still short of our fundraising goal. If every single one of the 10,000 people who are watching right now just gave $10, just $10, we could hit our fundraising goal like that. So please, if you haven't donated, if you've already donated, please check out the QR code, click on that, donate right now, get $10 in for the 10,000. I'm going to do it. I've been watching the ticker. My mom, Drenko, she put in some money. Thank you so much to my mom. I'm so grateful for that. Please follow her lead. I know I'm harping on this, but we are short of our fundraising goal, and that is not good enough. It's not good enough for this event. It's not good enough, most importantly, for the vice president. So please dig deep and please give. David, have you given? Have you already clicked on the QR code?
Now, I literally have my credit card. I'm trying to figure out what time to do it, but I will do it before the end of this call. Listen, we have one last panel. And it's probably, we've had incredible conversations, but this panel is going to focus on the most important aspect of the upcoming campaign, which is how do we win our battleground states? And to kick off that conversation, I'm going to introduce a brother who I met 30 years ago when neither of us thought that folks who look like us would ever get into public office, from the great state of New York, State Senator John Liu.
David, holy moly, you didn't have to mention the 30-year bit, but great to see you. And
you're a legend too, brother.
We got a great panel. I'm not going to talk for very long because I'm from New York, where we are a deep blue state, or so it was thought until like a month ago, where some of our polls in the state of New York had the candidates near a statistical dead heat, to the point where many New Yorkers were starting to caution that New York was actually starting to look like a battleground state. And that is until 2 weeks ago, when President Joe Biden made the historic and selfless move to designate Kamala Harris, our candidate and the person to be the next president of the United States. And so let me bring on our panel of state legislators from swing states, battleground states all around the country. They're here to talk about what they're doing and what you can all do to help them win their battleground states for Kamala Harris. First up, we have Jay Chowdhury, a state senator from North Carolina. He's the chair of the AAPI caucus, the minority whip of the state Senate, and also happens to represent the capital city of Raleigh, North Carolina. Jay Chowdhury.
Thank you, John. It's great to see the mayor and David, and thanks for this incredible effort. I think as you talked about first, given President Biden's decision to put country over self, just to take a second to applaud him and all the amazing things that he's done. But his decision to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris, the energy has been through the roof. And we, a number of legislators here in battleground states, were talking about the rallies. I think the Zoom calls that we're doing, what we're doing tonight, it has just been incredible. I don't need to tell folks on this call that this election is about the future versus the past. It's about hope versus fear. It's about unity versus division. I think Congressman Ted Lieu talked about this earlier tonight. I certainly do not want to go back. I don't want to go back because I was elected in 2016, and I remember the hate crimes that started in our community. One of the first things I did was hold a hate crimes forum with the South Asian American community, and we know that Donald Trump continued to extend that during the pandemic. But I do not want to go back to a time where our community was living in fear. I think we've got a historic opportunity to elect the first Black and Asian American female president in the country. Just to put things in context here in North Carolina, Donald Trump won this state only by 74,000 votes. We have more than 200,000 Asian Americans who are registered to vote. What your contribution tonight can do, or your ability to volunteer and work the phone banks, means that we can turn those voters out, and the AAPI community can literally be the margin of difference and elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, the next president and vice president of the United States. And just to give you a sense of how fast things are moving, absentee ballots in North Carolina go out on September 6th. So to quote Tim Walz, and I was telling folks, I'm not wearing a collared shirt anymore because I feel liberated now with Tim Walz on the ballot. But we can all sleep when we're dead, to quote Warren Zevon, or as you say, John Liu, no sleep till Brooklyn. I am excited and ready to go. And we will carry North Carolina, I know, with everybody's participation and help. We can do this, and we can make history in our country in November 2024.
Thank you, Senator Chowdhury. Next up, we have State Assemblyman Ruben De Silva, who, believe it or not, is a Marine Corps veteran of Iraq War and a Purple Heart recipient. Assemblyman De Silva.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, everybody, for having me here today. Again, my name is Ruben De Silva. I am the first ever South Asian, a person of South Asian heritage ever elected to any office in the state of Nevada. I'm in the state assembly, and Nevada is going to be a trip, y'all. It's going to be a very, very close race. We have, of course, the presidential race there. We got to get our 6 electoral votes for Vice President Harris, and then we also have a very, very important Senate race. We have an incumbent Democrat, Senator Jackie Rosen, who has been identified by the Republicans as being one of the most vulnerable Democrats in the Senate. And we got to do all that we can to make sure that she's reelected, because it'll be devastating if she does not win this race. So Nevada is a crucial state, and we need everybody's help. What are the ways that you can all help? One, to donate. I know that the campaigns have a way of funneling any dollar that goes into the campaign funds down to our battleground states, where this election is eventually going to be decided. Number 2, phone banks. I know that there's a AANHPI call every Monday. I was on one yesterday, actually, where you can call in from anywhere in the world between the hours of 6 to 8, I believe, or 5 to 7. And this is going to be Nevada specific. So we'll be making calls to other AANHPI identified voters in our state to drive them out to the polls. And then number 3 is just to come to Las Vegas. I'll just be real with you, especially you California folks. You guys are out here every other weekend anyhow. So come out to Vegas, come knock on doors during the day, and then at night, hit the slots, roll the dice, hit up DJ E-Rock or Evan Louie, hit the clubs, do whatever. You know, whatever happens in Las Vegas stays in Vegas. But we very much encourage you to come out and spend some time in our state and help us knock on doors and win this election, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblyman De Silva, and thank you for your service in many ways to our nation. Next up, we have Sam Park, a state representative from the great state of Georgia, the first Asian American Democrat elected to the Georgia state legislature and the whip of the Georgia House Democratic Caucus. Sam.
Hey, y'all, good evening, John. Thank you so much for the introduction. I am all in for Kamala Harris. In 2020, Asian American voters in Georgia were the margin of victory for President Biden, and we are fired up and ready to make history again this November. After the Atlanta spa shooting in 2021, I had the opportunity to meet Kamala when she came down to Georgia to be with the victims' families and to hear from the community. There was an incredible amount of fear and pain. Her strength, fierce determination, and leadership encouraged all of us to continue the good fight, get into good trouble, and be a voice for the people. There is no doubt in my mind that Kamala can win Georgia, and if we do the work, if we invest in turning out all of our communities, I believe that she can win decisively. So please donate, sign up to volunteer, reach out to me if you want to come knock on doors. I'll be on the ground. Now is time to go all in. We've got 90 days to save our democracy and continue the march toward justice for all. Thanks, y'all.
That was awesome, State Representative Sam Park. Next up, we have State Representative from Michigan, Ranjiv Puri. He's also the House Majority Whip and the youngest Asian American elected in the Michigan legislature. Representative Puri.
What up, though? As we say in Detroit, what a vibe we got going on tonight here. Thank you, John, for that introduction. As mentioned, my name is Ranjiv Puri, state rep in Michigan, also serve as the House Majority Whip. I barely made it today. I was scrambling. I'm just getting home from the Harris-Walz rally here in Detroit. I can tell you, Michigan showed up and showed out for the ticket today. The largest rally of the campaign, over 15,000 people. It was electric, just full of pure joy, and exactly, I think, what the campaign needs right now. And Michigan is ready to deliver for Vice President Auntie Kamala Harris. And I'm telling y'all, the country sleeps on Michigan. To some, we're just a flyover state, but that ain't it. We have a robust AANHPI community here in Michigan, the fastest growing block in the state. And we have communities from all over the world that have come to call Michigan home. And so that's why it's really important. We're rejecting Trump. We're rejecting everything about Project 2025. And we have our communities show up for the Harris-Walz ticket. And I want to remind everyone, Trump won Michigan in 2016, and he only won it by roughly 10,000 votes. And that comes down to 1 or 2 votes per precinct. So it's just, if we can just get our own community to vote, get our neighbors to vote, there's hundreds of thousands of registered AANHPI voters in Michigan. And so the road to the White House comes through Michigan this year, and the AANHPI community can have a huge role in that. So, our community finally has a president that they can see themselves in. And so I'm proud to stand with this ticket. AANHPIs will deliver in Michigan and our communities and Michiganders all over the state like we like to do in Michigan here. We're ready to grind all the way up into November. And so let's go. Let's go win this thing.
Thank you so much, Representative Puri. Next up, we have Nikhil Saval, state senator from Pennsylvania. He's the first South Asian elected to state office in Pennsylvania. Senator Saval.
Thank you, Senator. It's great to be here. Great to be here also with the mayor and with City Attorney Chu, who was actually my supervisor when I lived in San Francisco. So shout out to District 3 when he was supervisor. So I live in Philadelphia, and Pennsylvania is one of the most, if not the most critical state in the race for the presidency with 19 electors, the largest of any swing state. We have an extraordinary opportunity to elect the first Black and Asian American president, a child of the South Asian and African diasporas, who reflects very much the complexity of Asian American identity. And so to win PA and to win Asian Pennsylvania, all 268,000 eligible voters, we really need to respect that complexity as the campaign is doing and treat it accordingly, to run efforts that are sensitive to language, national origin, multiracial identity, and more. And the campaign is really working to do that. I represent the most Asian American Senate district in the Commonwealth, and together with the campaign and colleagues in the Pennsylvania House, running a GOTV effort in parts of Philadelphia where President Biden won over about 20% of his margin in 2020. But I just want to be clear that Asian Americans are everywhere in Pennsylvania. We are the fastest growing demographic in urban areas, but also in so many rural counties. So it's important that we have organizations like APIPA that are a new organization formed since 2020, fanning out across the Commonwealth. It's important that we support the Harris-Walz campaign to build out the capacity to reach voters where they are, to understand and to organize. So donate, come volunteer, bring your linguistic expertise. We are more than the margin. We are critical to the future of Pennsylvania. Let's make that real this November and in the years to come.
Thank you, Senator Saval. And listen, I was so excited in 2008 for Barack Obama. I'm just as excited for Kamala Harris, and I'm not far away. I'm just in New York City. So we're going to be coming down to your neck of the woods in buses. And I encourage everybody else to take buses, or if you can't, take airplanes to some of these battleground states represented by our great panelists here. We have a couple of minutes left, so let's just talk a little bit about what this battleground state concept means. I think, we all understand that, but maybe not everybody knows that the idea of the battleground state is that presidents get elected by the Electoral College. And in almost every state, the Democrat or the Republican will win. If they get the majority of votes in that state, they get all of the electoral votes in that state. So, for example, in California, whoever wins the majority of the voters in California gets all, like, the biggest block of electors that any state has in all of California. Same thing for New York. So when we talk about battleground states, we're talking about states that could go either Republican or Democrat. We want to make sure that it goes Democrat. And that's why if you're in a deep blue state, which I think New York now is back being a deep blue state, we got to help our brothers and sisters deliver the battleground states. And so you guys want to talk about how many electors you have. I think Ruben already mentioned that he's got 6 electors. How many electors do you have, and what's it mean to deliver the entire state?
Yeah, John, I'll go very quickly because I know we're pressed for time. 16 electoral votes in North Carolina. I think with the folks we got on this call, I mean, some combination of probably 3 states gets us to 270. And as I mentioned, we are the bluest red state in the country. Donald Trump won North Carolina by 1.3%. That was only 74,000 votes. AANHPI voters here comprise 200,000 votes. We can be the margin of difference, as I'm sure is similar with the other states on this call.
And 270, as you mentioned, Senator, is the number of electors that the candidate needs to win in order to become president.
That's right.
We got 16 electoral college votes in Georgia. President Biden won that with 11,000 votes out of, I think, 5 million votes cast. Again, I think there's a great opportunity for Kamala to build upon those margins. The Indian American community is the largest Asian ethnic group in Georgia. There's an incredible amount of excitement. And so, again, we need the investment to do the work of turning out the vote.
It's pretty consistent here in Michigan, too. We got 15 votes, as you mentioned, John. It's winner take all here. You know, like I mentioned in my remarks, when Trump won in 2016, he won by 0.23%. And so, you know, all of our communities can just honestly tell your neighbor, and that makes enough difference to win the entire state.
Absolutely. Guys, you are in the states that we have to have. We have to have these states. And I'm so grateful that you are not just leading your communities through your elected service, but that you're on this Zoom talking about the importance of donating, but also of actually getting out there, talking to folks, the fact that we need specific language talents in order to get to every single corner of our community to turn them out. And I agree. We're not just the margin of victory. We are the whole damn election. Senator Liu, thank you so much for moderating. To all the reps, assembly members, thank you. A special shout out to Ranjiv Puri. Ranjiv was my intern in student government at Ohio State. And look at you now, brother. You are crushing it in Michigan. I don't know why you went from Ohio State to Michigan, but well, that's for another conversation. I don't want to piss off the big blue nation, but just so grateful to see you here, man.
I still can't get that hair like you, though, man. You got to tell me the secret.
Well, I
let's
think
not talk about hair.
Yeah, I think we've had enough of my facial and hair. Anyway, thanks, guys. Good to see you guys, and I love Representative Chowdhury. He's been an incredible leader in the South for so long, and it's so I just love hearing a South Asian with a Southern accent. It never gets old for me. It always makes me chuckle. I love you, brother.
Me too,
always
brother.
love it.
Great. Thanks for your leadership, and you too, David.
Right on. Well, thank you, guys. You know, if you were inspired by what you just heard, these are our political warriors on the front lines. We will not elect Kamala Harris as our next president. We will not keep our country safe unless their states are squarely in our corner. And we want to make sure that everyone takes an opportunity to register to volunteer. It's both, as the good mayor and I know, all of us were elected officials. It's all about time and it's all about money. And we need folks with those language skills. If you're able to travel to a nearby state, we want you to do that. If you can pick up a phone, if you can text, we want to do that. So please hit this QR code to volunteer for Kamala. This information will get funneled to the right folks depending on your language skills, depending on what you want to do. And of course, we want to remind folks to tell all your friends and all your families to vote, because so many of our friends and family, I can't tell you how many times I discovered after the fact that my good friend chose not to vote. They just need to be nudged. And all the studies show a couple nudges get us there. So with that, that's our final panel. We have a couple of final important speakers.
Yes.
Up top, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we are in the home stretch. It's been a 2.5-hour show. It's 4:30 in the morning here in Paris. So we are going to finish strong. We've got our next two speakers going to talk about how to take this rhetoric and turn it into action. So proud that Daniel Dae Kim, the National AAPI Engagement Director at the Harris for President campaign, and Roger Lau, Senior Advisor to the Harris Victory Fund. Come on, guys.
Hey, can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you, and we're so excited to see you.
Well, it was awesome to see that panel, seeing all those handsome guys, elected officials, state legislators. I also thought it was really cool to see an Asian guy with a deep Southern accent like that, and especially cool to see John Liu, who went to my alma mater, Bronx Science in New York City. Honestly, it came up at a time when there were no Asian American electeds, and seeing him, walking around with he had a little more hair back then. He was slicked back. He looked like a badass all the time, but it was awesome to see him. But thank you to my friend, San Francisco City Attorney David Chu, and obviously Mayor Aftab Piraval. You are a hero. Love seeing you out there, and thank you for all you do for the Biden-Harris campaign, and now the Harris campaign as a National Advisory Board member, and also all you do for the DNC. And also all my AANHPI brothers who led this effort for pulling us all together tonight to celebrate, to share, and just to be in community. I've been working in politics for almost 25 years, and I don't ever remember having a space like this for Asian Americans and Asian men in particular. And that's what's been so cool, inspiring, energizing, and honestly, just so hopeful about all these grassroots-driven calls and Zooms that started with our Black sisters, followed by our Latina AANHPI sisters, white sisters, Black and Latino brothers, and also the white dudes, and so many more. It is absolutely electric out there, and it gives me so much hope. And it's a reminder that all of us are able to bring something from our communities and give of ourselves to this greater collective effort to protect our democracy, our country, and at the end of the day, our own families. This moment that we're in is so special to me, and clearly to all of you who are joining tonight, not just because we're on the cusp of electing a president who knows what it means to have a name that people can't or won't pronounce properly. People screw up my name all the time. There's only 3 letters. I don't know why it's so hard. Not just because we're about to elect a president who knows what it's like to have an Asian mom who would kick your ass if you cross her. And not just because we are about to elect a president who knows that every person your mom and dad introduce you to is just a new auntie or uncle, because family is the most important part of our lives, and our families grow every single day. So in 90 days, we're going to elect a new president who sees us, and one who we can see in our sisters and daughters and moms and granddaughters. Someone we and the whole world will see as American leader, an American president, and someone who understands why we proudly use the hyphens to honor our heritage, but sees us as our families as Americans, no hyphen necessary. Kamala Harris will be a president who will have us in her heart and mind every single day, who will make a difference for us, not just incidentally, but intentionally, because she sees us. She's seen the world in this country through our eyes and wants to see a different, better country for all of us and our families, whether you're a South Asian, Southeast Asian, East Asian, Pacific Islander, Native Hawaiians, and maybe you're like me, someone who grew up with parents who came here later in life and were the first person in their families to get a high school degree, go to college, and maybe the very first in their families to feel American. Or you're biracial, multiracial, grew up in mixed families, or in households where you were loved for everything you were and all that you meant to your family and your communities. Kamala Harris sees us and will work for a better America for all of us. So someone, or maybe this person's on the call, so I'm not going to out them. Someone asked me earlier today how I thought Tim Walz would do in our community. And what I said was, I told him that Tim Walz seems like the kind of white dude. He's going to come to our events. He'll actually stick around. He'll eat our food and ask for seconds. This is a good governor that comes from Minnesota, home state of Olympian Suni Lee, a state with one of the largest, most diverse Asian American populations in the country. He gets us, and more importantly, he wants to get us. Everyone, all of our brothers who spoke on this call tonight, talked about what Kamala Harris, what Tim Walz, and what this moment means for all of us. We all clearly get not only what's at stake, but the opportunities that these 90 days represent for every single one of us. So please, remember these last couple of weeks. Remember what it feels like right now in this moment while we're in this community. Remember that in the next 90 days as we work, build, fight to win this election, even when it's hard, and it's going to be hard. Nadia, my colleague who you're going to hear from next, she's the tip of the spear for all of us. She's going to provide us with the tech, the tools, the talking points, and everything else we need to spread the word, register our neighbors, get them involved, and turn out the vote and win this election. But remember, stay in this fight. We need you. Stay in touch with Nadia, answer her calls, and respond to her emails if you get a chance. So I'll close with this. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, as someone mentioned earlier, were both born in 1964, the year of the dragon. Some of our communities celebrated earlier this year. So let's continue this conversation over the next 90 days and bring all of our aunties and uncles, especially the ones we haven't met yet in our growing family, so we can celebrate again on Tuesday, November 5th, and declare that this country and the whole world, and to everyone, that 2024 is the year of the dragon. So on behalf of the over 100 Asian American, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders already working on this campaign so far at the convention in Wilmington, in the States, and over at the DNC, thank you for all you've done to get us here. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for all you're going to do for us. So click on that QR code on the right. Get on Twitter. Go to KamalaHarris.com. Sign up, volunteer, donate. Always smash and retweet that button at our Rapid Response Twitter account at Kamala HQ. So thank you. Now I want to turn it over to my amazing colleague, as I said, the person that's leading this effort on behalf of the Harris campaign, Nadia Nisha Belkin. She is someone who has worked on campaigns all around the country. She was a powerhouse. She was a founder of an organization called the Asian American Power Network, and she took the chance and left to work for the Biden campaign first. And now she's working on behalf of the Harris campaign and absolutely crushing it every single day. So Nadia, I'm going to hand this off to you.
Thank you so much, Roger. Such a generous welcome. And thank you so much to our hosts. This is really an organizer's dream to see this level of engagement, people asking, where do we sign up? I mean, the lines are out the doors, our inboxes are overflowing, the phones are ringing off of the hook. And I think that really just shows you the level of enthusiasm and charisma that is being channeled into this moment. The enthusiasm that I am seeing that has been expressed throughout this call is radiating through the screen and through the chat. And I'll just say, we're also feeling that here on the campaign. As you can see, I'm in HQ here in Wilmington, and there's just a new feeling of energy, commitment. We know, though there are 90 days on the calendar, they are going to fly by, but they are going to be success-filled each day we work together. So as Roger very generously introduced me, my name is Nadia Nisha Belkin. I am the National AANHPI Engagement Director here on the Harris campaign. This call has been beautiful, looking at all of the different panels. You have heard from leaders that have worked with Kamala Harris, that admire her and understand how Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are going to lead us to a better America. This is a ticket that resonates with us in so many different ways. I have heard from friends, family, people are coming out of the woodwork to say, my God, what a good pick for VP. My God, look at all of the policies that the Biden-Harris administration has been able to enact over the past 3.5 years. Can you imagine what that 4 years is going to be? And my answer is yes. We see it. We know it. We have seen Kamala Harris as a tested leader, and we know if she is the next vice president or next president, and I should not say if, when she becomes the next president, we are going to be part of her vision of success. We have seen ourselves in these candidates, and we're seeing that through the values and actions. And I want you all to hang on to that, because the ask here is to go back out into community and bring your friends, bring your family along. And as Roger said, there are going to be new people on this campaign that we meet as well. I don't really even want to touch or talk about the other folks and their platform, but what I will remind us of is that we have lived through a Trump administration. We know what Project 2025 is offering us. It is not safety, it is not security, and it is not inclusion. And so I think we need to remind ourselves what's at stake. There is a lot that is happening in our communities, and everything that we stand for, everything that makes our lives great, the things that we want to fight for, is what the Kamala Walz campaign and ticket is offering us. So, we are just 2 weeks. It's wild. We're just 2 weeks into a new campaign, and the groundswell of grassroots enthusiasm is overwhelming. This call in and of itself, phenomenal, and has been exceptionally moving, especially someone who's in the campaign space. So I want to just give you a few stats, bring you into the wonkiness with us. Over these past 2 weeks, we have seen over 1.3 million voters sign up for campaign events across the country. We have seen over 200,000 volunteers join the campaign. That equates to 29,000 canvas shifts. That means knocking on doors, and over 197,000 phone bank shifts scheduled. This is your invitation to join us. This campaign has a place for you. And as they said at the top of the call, we want to take all of this enthusiasm and turn it into action. AANHPI voters are in all 50 states, but we're also in all of the key battleground states, which we know are the path to 270. So you want to know how we're going to do this? Well, there are a lot of different ways that you can get involved in the campaign. We are knocking on doors. We are hosting phone banks. We're hosting text banks. We're writing postcards. We're hosting rallies. We're asking you all to host watch parties and events in your own homes. We're doing events with surrogates. There are a lot of different ways for you to plug in and contribute. We know that you might be better on phones. You might like knocking on doors. We are not going to say no to you. So as Roger said, I want you to find me. I want you to reach out. I want you to know that you have a place in this campaign. And we cannot do this without you. The other thing that I want to invite you to do is think about inviting your whole family. That means your kids. That means the aunties, the uncles, the nannies, the nanas. Intergenerational organizing is key to our success. And we're also doing this work in Language Week because we know that when we have the information, it empowers us to actually cast our ballot. So thank you to the host for dropping the volunteer links into the chat. Please sign up for that. And we're also looking to build out our team here at Harris HQ. So join us. There are a lot of ways to get involved. Thank you to the co-hosts, and thank you all for the work that I know we're going to do together over the next 90 days.
Nadia, thank you. And Roger, thank you so much for working day in and day out to make history. Obviously, we're so incredibly proud of your work, your leadership. It's hard to be in these campaign roles, eating pizza every night, not sleeping, but you guys make it look easy, and we're so grateful to have you. David, we're coming to the end here.
We're coming to the stretch, but Nadia, again, just know that we are brothers behind you as a sister, and of course, behind our ultimate sister, Kamala Harris. So I'm going to give one more plug for donating. Take a look at the right-hand corner of that QR. You know what to do. I'm going to announce one final match challenge from a successful Silicon Valley leader. Thank you to Jeremy Liu from Lightspeed Venture Partners, who is also going to be matching contributions tonight, 1-for-1, up to $25,000. And just appreciate all of you who work in technology and innovation. Please follow Jeremy's lead as we help bring this to the home stretch. I also want to take a moment and thank two organizational sponsors tonight, the AAA Fund and Kappa 21. And hopefully we have with us to represent Kappa 21 an iconic civil rights attorney from California who led the legal team that overturned the World War II conviction of a Japanese-American internment camp survivor. We all know his name, Fred Korematsu. My hope is the legendary Dale Manami was sitting in an Uber waiting to Brother Dale, look at you.
There he
Out of
is.
the car.
Well, man, I'm walking to my other appointment, but thank you.
Of course, you're on air.
Okay, you want me to talk? Is that what?
I would love for you to just say a few words.
I'm actually just thrilled to be here with all you folks. It is very inspirational. Thank the co-hosts. You folks have been amazing. And so I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm the oldest guy here, so I get to do the cleanup. But on the other hand, I'm as old as Donald Trump, which is why I probably forget things and bumble around. And except I don't say really stupid racial, fascist kind of comments that he does. I've known Kamala since she was in law school, and I met her then, and I watched this amazing trajectory of her career. It's remarkable. And she won her first race for district attorney for just a couple hundred votes. And then she won the attorney general vote by only a couple hundred votes too, or a couple thousand. So she is a fighter. She's a winner. She has never stopped moving forward, never stopped moving up. And so to that extent, I really am a big fan of hers. Geez. I've seen a lot of history because I am, like I said, Donald Trump's age. And what I see is scary. It's a repeat of history. It's anti-Asian violence. There's attempts to restrict land ownership, the suspicion of Chinese American scientists and Asian Americans out for their loyalty, which was reminiscent of why my parents, my whole family and whole community were put in prisons during World War II without any due process rights. So I am afraid that this is all going to happen again. And a few weeks ago, you're probably like me, were probably pretty disappointed or disheartened several weeks ago. And then the sunshine broke through the clouds, and we saw the selection of Kamala Harris bring daylight back to us. And with her selection of Tim Walz, I think that our day became even brighter. So I am very hopeful that we're going to not have to repeat history, except for, let's say, a Democratic president again. And I'm really thrilled to be able to be here. And I just say, just to end, is to embrace the joy, embrace the freedom, and reject the weirdness. So thank you all. Thank you, David. Thank you, Arvid. Ajay, excuse me. All right, see you all. Thank you for letting me participate.
Thanks, Dale. Thanks. I mean, it's always important to get pearls of wisdom from our elders. And I also love that he's just wandering around the lobby, just hanging out, just talking to 11,000 people across the country. What a baller! That guy's amazing.
Dale is pretty awesome, but he really is. He represents a line of civil rights fighters, and frankly, it's a legacy that Kamala Harris has inherited as she moves on. When Nadia was talking about family before, I could not help but think that Kamala's mother is watching on us right now. We all got to know her in San Francisco, and if you knew her, anyone who knew her would vote for her to be president, for her daughter to become president of the United States, because she was fierce. She was loving. She was the mother of the woman who is going to be our president. And this is what our country is about. And we all know that out of our community, who our mothers are and what we do for them and what they do for us.
All right, well, let's close this out before the top of the hour, so we're not a full hour behind schedule. But look, our final speaker, the closer, the fucking closer. This guy is the real deal. We are so late, so I'm going to cut the intro short. But Daniel Dae Kim, whenever we call, whenever our community calls, he is there. It doesn't matter any time of day. This man shows up. Obviously, you know him from the screen, from the stage. You know him from his immaculate cheekbones. But what I am inspired by with this man is that it doesn't matter where. When there is a call for help, this guy shows up. Daniel Dae Kim, thank you for showing up tonight.
Wow, that's quite an intro, Aftab. It's nice to see you guys. I even got you to drop an F-bomb there.
Well, I tried. I had a quota tonight. The organizers told me not to drop too many, and I think I've only dropped like 2. So anyway, you, DDK, take it away.
Thanks very much, everybody. Yes, we are very late. Poor Aftab is going to be falling asleep on his baguette in Paris very soon. So I'll be as brief as I can. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me. I've been inspired by all of these eloquent speeches, and I've learned a lot from people like Dale and laughed with Ken Jeong, and it was great to see people like BD dropping the knowledge. It's been a really fun couple of hours, and I wanted to just talk about where we go from here, because by now we've all heard the reasons why we want to support Kamala Harris for president. But so we'll sum up a little bit. But before we do, I just wanted to underscore a couple of points that really resonated with me as I was listening to people. And that is, it is incredibly important to support Kamala Harris for all the reasons that so many of us have mentioned. But it is also important to support the down ballot contests in each of our states. It is crucial that we hold on to the Senate because we have it by a razor-thin margin. And it is important that we flip the House. If we can do all of those things, we have a supermajority. We have a government where we won't be thwarted by conservative politics. Recently, the expansion of the child tax credit was rejected in the Senate. And, so many climate change bills have been stopped dead in their tracks. There have been a lot of things that we know as common sense issues that just cannot get done. And how great would it be if we had Kamala Harris as president and we had a Senate that was also Democratic led and a House. And, you know, just as a particular point of pride, I'm so honored to be able to say that we have this many congressmen and this many senators now, you know, representing us on the national level. Andy Kim is going to be the first Korean American senator ever in the history of the country. Ted Lieu has been representing us honorably for so many years. And, you know, he's one of my favorite Twitter accounts because he's a firebrand. And, you know, of course, in my home state, Mazie Hirono is doing, you know, speaking truth to power as well. I'm proud to be a part of this era. And it's important for us to keep this momentum going, not only as Asian Americans, but as Democrats. And so to support your down ballot contest is really, really important. And the other thing is, you know, if we can do that, then maybe we can get behind President Biden's initiative for Supreme Court reform. This is also very important because this is an issue that I haven't heard anyone talk about tonight. And that is, within the next 4 years, there are possibly 2 or 3 Supreme Court justices who will not be able to complete their term for one reason or another. And so the balance of the Supreme Court hangs now with this election. And if you don't like the way that it's been going these past 4 years, if you're in support of things like LGBTQ plus rights, same-sex marriage, campaign finance reform, and of course, abortion, this is an election that is incredibly important. And how great is it that we have a candidate that we love and support? So I'd like us all to just be mindful of all of the things that are in play this November. So what can we do? I love hearing Nadia and everyone talk about the ways that we can activate. Obviously, we should donate. I'm a little bit disappointed that we haven't hit our target yet because, you know, as Asian Americans, I'm used to us overachieving. So there's still time. If we've gone a full hour behind schedule, that's even more time for us to make our target. So if you haven't donated, I love Aftab's idea of $10, just $10. I think there's still time to do it, and you know I hope we can. So donation is really important for those of us with platforms and having people who follow or listen to us. Use those platforms. Let's use them. You know, someone mentioned earlier the rapid response Instagram account Kamala HQ. That's super important. I follow it, and there's a lot of great information that comes out really quickly, and we can use that to repost, get information, and you know effectively support our candidate. Volunteering, like Nadia said, was super important, and this goes double if you're in a battleground state, and I would say it goes double if you're a member of Gen Z or you know someone who is Gen Z, because we need to activate our younger voters. It's so great to have people like Hudson speaking for Gen Z. You know, my kids are out there and they're voting now. And if you've ever heard Gen Zers say, my vote doesn't matter, or I don't care, it doesn't affect me, this is your chance. Because a lot of you right now who are listening, you know, there are a lot of us who are preaching to the choir, but there are some of you out there who have not ever voted or are kind of curious about Kamala Harris and curious about the ways we can get involved. This is for you. Please activate. There are plenty of websites to do it, and I'll just name a few. There's rockthevote.org. There's vote.org. There's Vote Save America. There's Kamala HQ. There's headcount.org. And here's one that's specific to the AANHPI community, apiavote.org. Why this is so important is because Nadia so correctly mentioned that intergenerational support is important. And this website has in-language support for people who want to learn how to register to vote, where the voting stations are, and if you have an auntie or an uncle or a granddad or a grandson who wants to vote for the first time, this is a site for our community. So these are just small ways that we can turn our enthusiasm into action. Leave no friend behind, folks. If you have a sphere of influence, then this is your chance to go talk to them. And if they're on the fence about voting for the first time, these are the people that we can actually make a difference and help. Because, to be honest, there's so much of the population that will never vote blue. And there's a lot of us on this call that will never vote red. But the difference will be made by those of us who are undecided or those of us who've never voted before. So let's think about those people in our lives and think about how we can motivate them and inspire them the same way that we are inspired. Okay, I promised I wouldn't talk very long, so I'm going to wrap it up. But here's what I'll say, as my last point. Aftab, I think it was you who said something like, let's make America normal again. And maybe it was you, David, I'm not sure. But I love that because I was thinking, well, maybe we should make America kind again. Maybe we should make America respectful again. All of those things could apply. But I like Make America Normal Again because, when you take that acronym, it's MANA. And MANA, for my local Hawaiians out there, the Kanaka Maolis out there, MANA means collective spirit. It means collective universal energy. And how great would it be if we could use our collective MANA to bring someone like Kamala Harris to the presidency? Because we may not be the majority in the US, but as so many of us have pointed out, we are large enough to make the difference. And if we can harness our collective power, we will make the difference. So I want to leave you with that thought. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Have a great night. I hope you can get some sleep. And everyone, I hope we can raise ourselves up to a very happy November in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Incredible. Thank you so much, DDK. Hopefully I can call you DDK, but I'm so grateful. I am definitely going to get rest because I'm going to the gold medal game to root on the women's national team on Saturday night. We are going to work Brazil. Look, we are here at the end of the program. Daniel Dae Kim, I can't imagine a better closer than you. Thank you so much for bringing it home, and thank you so much for continuing to prioritize. We got to hit that donate button. We're coming to the end here. We are at the end, in fact, David.
Okay.
So just to close us out here, David and I have a couple of thank yous, and then each of us are going to give a couple of closing thoughts. My thank you first is to our incredible production team who's been working behind the scenes, making sure that this is an incredibly well-run and well-crafted program. Thank you so much to DigiMentors, to Sri and his team, particularly Deepika, Mateo, Christian, and my boy Neil. Thank you guys so much for all of your hard work. David, who else do we have to thank? Or do we get to thank? Excuse me.
Well, we have to thank, of course, shout out to some of our sisters who were helpful after the AANHPI Women for Kamala, Christine Chen from APIA Vote, Madeline Melka for your help. But of course, we want to take a moment and thank our amazing host committee who
That's right.
over the last 10 days, essentially, whether folks were on vacation or whether they were working around the clock in their day jobs, dropped everything, basically didn't sleep. We actually had host calls that were stretching from Taipei through every time zone in the United States, all the way out to Europe. So this is Rob Bonta, Andy Kim, Ted Liu, John Liu, Jeff Maloney, Aftab, William Tong, Kenneth Chen, Alex Hetherington, Sam Hyun, Tim Lim, Evan Louie, Edwin Salcedo, Eddie Shiomi. I got to just shout you out because he was really glue for our team. Jyot Singh, Alistair Stevenson. And then we also want to take a moment and thank our co-hosts who helped get the word out. Too many to read off tonight, but if you visit our webpage, you can see all of those names. As Aftab just said, you got to make a contribution before you get off here so we can get those matches. But after you do that, go do your part. Think of how you're involved. Put a plan together. guys, we got 90 days, and everything is on stake. I'm going to debrief after this with my 8-year-old son. This is the first time he's watched a couple hours worth of folks talking about this stuff. But that's who we're doing it for. We're doing it for our next generation, because at the end of the day, it's all going to happen. It's all going to come down, and things could move into joy. Things could move into a mana experience, or we know what the alternative is. So thank you for being here.
David, before you end though, I do want to thank you on behalf of the entire host committee. For those of you watching at home, David has been he's not just the host tonight, he's been project managing this. He brought us all together. He's been organized, keeping us on task. Putting this event together, as you can imagine, is a Herculean effort. So thank you so much to David for your leadership, and a special thank you to Eddie Shiomi, who David mentioned was the glue. We would not have pulled this off without Eddie, who's also on a family vacation, sacrificing and making this possible. I just want to close. I know we're at 5:01 my time, but I do want to just end by answering my why question. Why am I here? Why did we put so much work into this? And it's because of this moment, this historic moment, this ability for us as a community to elect one of our own as the first Indian American president. She belongs to us too. And this moment didn't just happen, it was made to happen. It was made to happen by Daniel Inouye, by Hiram Fong, by Norman Mineta. It was made to happen by incredible leaders like Dalip Singh Song. And of course, it was made to happen by Patsy Mink. These incredible AANHPI leaders who came before us, who blazed this path that David and I and so many other elected officials are walking on when they were going through oppression and racism in the 50s and 60s. I don't know if they knew that this moment would be possible, but I know that they are smiling now because their collective work made it possible. And look, I am a personification of that dream. As I mentioned, my mom was born in Tibet. She grew up in southern India as a refugee, and in one generation, my family went from being refugees to now the mayor of a major American city. And folks, that only happens in this country, and it's on us to make sure that dream is a reality for the next generation. And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really fucking hard. They're gonna come after her with racist attacks. They're gonna spread lies about her. They're already doing that. And so many people think that the country is not ready to elect a woman, to elect a Black woman, to elect an Indian American woman, and that is crap. I still believe in this country. I still believe in its promise and its potential, and I dare all 11,000 of you to prove them wrong this November and elect Kamala Harris as our next president. David?
You heard it. Brother closed it. All we can say is let's, I wish we were all together in person, but we are all connected through that stream of humanity that exists from the Hawaii Islands all the way through our country out to Paris, where we've got a lot of Americans. And at the end of the day, we may look different stripes, we may come from different states, but we all bleed the same, we all cry the same, we laugh the same, we experience the same joy. And we've got a sister that we need to uplift to help uplift us all. So if you are fired up, if you're ready to go, let us get this done. We've got 90 days left. Put your plan together. Let's do it. And then we can hopefully celebrate on November 6th. Thanks, everyone. Peace out.
See ya.